SZN Podcast, episode 11.
Is it 11? Do the mini episodes count?
No, not yet. We might have to redo our accounting.
We're gonna have a team dinner when we get to 20, so I'm counting them towards the team dinner.
Okay. Well, you got to take us somewhere good. You got to take us somewhere.
I got it. I'll do it.
Episode 11, Week 7 reaction, Week 8 preview. Week 7 reaction once again shows us that the NFL is going to present us with a lot of surprises this year. The surprises are endless, so we're going to get into that. It is World Series week. The Dodgers and the Toronto Blue Jays face off on Friday night in Game 1. Dodgers keep rolling. I am a massive Dodger fan, so you're going to hear me talk about that over the next couple of weeks when the Dodgers go for another title. Shohei Ohtani might have done in the most recent game. Was it the most recent one or the one before? I'm forgetting because they've had so many days
I think
off.
it's the most recent. It
was game 3?
I think it was game 3.
His 3 home runs, 10 strikeouts, 100 pitches. We were joking. That is the equivalent of somebody playing quarterback and throwing for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, and then going on defense and having 2 sacks, an interception for a touchdown, and a strip sack for a touchdown. That's what Shohei did. So even if you hate the Dodgers, which I know a lot of people do, just enjoy what you're watching because it is absolutely jaw-dropping what that guy's capable of, and it should be a fun World Series. Willie, how we doing?
Doing great. Had a great breakfast at Eller. They have
this podcast brought to you by Eller Bakery in Costa Mesa.
Christoph. Well,
Nick can't keep his hands off his microphone, and so he just broke his microphone.
Well.
And so we're gonna have to roll with that.
It was the bass. No, can we have a blooper reel for today? Little pause in the
Here
action.
comes John.
Oh, wow.
You can keep going. Oh, yeah. So today, while we get this fixed, and John, now you're on camera. Everyone gets to see.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, he used to have longer hair.
We've told you how sexy he is. Now you can see it in live and living color.
Hey, how was the sauna this morning?
It was great.
It was
Much
great.
needed after a lot of travel.
A lot of travel. All right, so Nick, I got something for you.
Well, I want to talk about my latte though.
Oh, go ahead. You're gonna
Yeah.
talk about
So Eller Bakery.
Yep.
Would that be considered? That's Costa Mesa.
Yeah, it's Costa Mesa.
Costa Mesa.
Yeah.
We have the breakfast burrito with bacon. They have a nice little sauce with it. And then
Get your hands off your microphone,
I like yeah.
and then it won't
Yeah,
break.
yeah.
You always touch it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Well, I'm like trying to see my notes. I don't know why I need notes for my breakfast though. They have this. If you go in and you're in Southern California, Eller Bakery, Costa Mesa, they have this pumpkin cinnamon cold latte. You can get it hot too. Cold latte with cold foam. It is dynamic.
Amazing.
It is so good. I wish I would have gotten 2, so I would have had one right here, but I already drank it. So I just wanted to talk about my latte.
Our guy Christoph at Eller Bakery, that's a awesome place. So if you live in Southern California, Costa Mesa area, check it out. Shout out to Christoph, makes an amazing breakfast burrito too. Nick, I want to share. This is thought of the day. We do like a pet peeve of the day typically, and we have our pet peeves, and we're going to come back to those at some point. I came across this on Instagram. This guy named Steve Magnus, who
he's great.
is a performance driven mentalist type guy.
He's a running coach, elite runner,
and shares great thoughts
Amazing
on Instagram.
thoughts,
Go follow him. It's awesome. But this one hit me hard because, and I shared this with my 11-year-old daughter recently, and I think we can all benefit from this even as adults. So I'm going to read this because I think this is really cool. And it also relates to our mindset with the SZN Podcast and why we're even doing this. And why we take our time, spend a lot of time on this, right? Obviously, you and I are close and we enjoy hanging together and working together. And everybody that's with us is our producers and John McCarthy and Roddy. And it's a lot of fun to do this together. But here's part of the reason. So Steve says, in middle school gym class, the cool kids, and he puts that in quotes, the cool kids, never tried. They jogged instead of sprinting, laughed off losses, acted like they didn't care. It wasn't confidence. It was insecurity. Trying hard meant risking failure, and that's what scared them. A lot of adults are still playing that same game. We hide behind indifference. It's safer to act like we're above it than to care deeply and fall short. But the cost of self-protection is that we never really show up. We never get to show how good we could be. Not giving your all is a clever escape hatch. If things don't go your way, you can always say, well, I didn't really try. It's the perfect ego shield. You never face the truths of your limits. But the same shield also keeps you from discovering what you're capable of. Caring deeply is risky because it makes you vulnerable. When you give everything to something, you get to find out the harsh truth. How good am I? Where are my limits? There's nowhere to hide. But that's what gives life its depth. The highs, the lows, and everything in between. So the people most comfortable with failing often end up succeeding the most because they actually put themselves in the arena. They're free to give their full effort, not because they're fearless, but because they've made peace with falling short. So let's move on from middle school. Trying hard is cool, caring deeply is a must. The real strength is in effort and showing up even when the outcome isn't guaranteed, because indifference never built anything meaningful. Caring did. That's freaking cool.
It's really good, and he's a running coach. He was an elite runner. I followed him, and I've always been interested in endurance sports. Growing up in Austin, Texas, whether it was the bike riding with Lance Armstrong, during the Tour de France days. There's Lady Bird Lake where you can run around. Like, endurance was always a part of my childhood.
Mm-hmm.
My mom would run around Town Lake and I'd be on my bike. And then as I got older, I'd always incorporate it in the off-season endurance. And we always loved playing basketball, which you have to have great endurance. If you have great endurance with sports, you're going to probably be a better on the playing field. So whenever you run and whenever you train for a marathon or a half marathon, the more you do, like, if consistently, you're going to get faster.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to build the base. You're going to build the aerobic base. You're going to build the anaerobic base. And I think about that is a lot of people are afraid of doing that work because they feel like they're going to get exposed. But if you just consistently do those things and stack the days, you're going to get faster.
Right.
And you see
That's
it.
right.
Like, I follow documentaries. I watch people on their YouTube, their training. It's very interesting to me as an athlete and someone who's a bigger guy. Like, we talk about all the time, like, you don't know how I can go do all these running. And it's hard because I get exposed when I run because all these thoughts when I'm running go through my head. Hey, why are you doing it? You don't need to do this. Hey, you can stop now. That was 4 miles. You don't
Right.
need to go 8. But I love
your
that.
biggest opponent is human nature.
It's human. It's myself.
It's your human nature.
And that's
Yeah.
why I like it. And is I get to face myself, face my own thoughts, and just take that
Yeah.
next step. It's as simple as just taking that next step. And it's that, and it's amazing when you do it. And I feel like I would have stopped in on an 8-mile run. I would have stopped at 4 or 5, but then I finish it, and I'm like, all I had to do was I just kept taking the next step.
Both physically and mentally, and all the things we go through. Shout out to my good friend Mike McClellan, lives here locally. I'm in a men's group with him, and Mike often says, I rarely enjoy the things as they're actually happening to me that are making me a better person.
Yeah.
And I think that's really well put, because at the end of the day, like, we have to get comfortable being uncomfortable for growth. And like you just said, our biggest opponent each and every day is human nature. Human nature tells us, like, hey man, don't expose yourself. Don't make yourself vulnerable. Don't put yourself out there. And like, that's that ego talking if you've taken a psychology class, right? Telling you, like, slow down. You're about to get embarrassed. Slow down. And that's where the growth happens. There's some parallels to the comments you made after your Super Bowl run about failure and how, like, Instagram maybe only shows us everyone's highlight reel or everyone's final draft. We don't see the rough drafts. We only see the final drafts, right? And so I just thought that was a really good thought of the day. It sort of drives, like, what we are here at the SZN Podcast in season 1 of doing this. I know, Nick, you haven't done a ton of this stuff before, and like, a podcast in general is new to me too. And forget failure, dude. It happens, but you just got to keep pushing on, and before you know it, you've got a pretty cool final draft right in front of you.
Yeah, just
we agree with that,
consistency.
man? Pretty good, right?
No, it's consistency. And I always go back, to the book of James in the Bible. First chapter, if you're ever, reading the Bible or you're going through something, I recommend the book of James. Chapter 1 talks about finding joy within trials.
Yeah.
The testing of your faith produces perseverance. And it's just such a powerful book. And it's everything you just said, it's right there, is how do you find joy within trials and testing? I mean, sports is a great example. I mean, sports are hard. Playing football was hard. People ask me all the time, like, will you let your boys play football? And because of the concussions and everything. And I always say football has shaped me is a part of shaping me into who I've become because of the trials within it. The mountaintop experiences were great, but the trials are where I grew as a person. That's what I said after the Super Bowl. I was so depleted in that MVP press conference in the morning. It was early in the morning, a little bit of sleep, but it was on my heart that was through the Holy Spirit, is just talking about, finding joy within those trials and going through them, and you're learning, you're growing. If everything was easy, you'd never grow. Yeah. So I think it's powerful message to start.
I told my 11-year-old last night, a girl made a comment to her yesterday at basketball practice, like, kind of giving her a hard time, saying, why do you care so much? And it kind of hit, she's 11, so she's a little fragile with stuff like that, especially what your peers think of you, right?
Yeah.
And it kind of hit her, and I could tell. And I read her that post. And I said, don't you dare let that affect you, right? You caring about your work and everything you're doing it's biblical in one sense. And then another sense too, when you're uncomfortable, you're growing, right? And so I thought that was a really good thing, and we wanted to share that today. All right, quick, rapid fire. And this is a reflection on week 7 in the NFL. Tell me the top 3 teams in the league this is no easy exercise either. Usually, like we're halfway through the season, we got a better idea who's good, who's bad. Who the hell are the top 3 teams in the league?
All right, my top 3 teams: Indianapolis Colts. I think
Okay.
they're very well rounded. Best point differential in the NFL with plus 92. Kansas City Chiefs. They might be 4-3, but
Crazy, man.
goes back to many weeks ago when you asked why I liked them. I said I just like them. Andy Reid. Simple as that. They have the staff.
You were right.
Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. Rashee Rice is back. Big game. And then I gotta go with the Detroit Lions. I mean, what they're doing this year with 2 new coordinators, Dan Campbell and that staff, it's really impressive. So right now, my power ranking has those 3 teams in the top 3.
Okay, we don't agree on everything on this show.
Those are
Like,
your top
here's
3.
some teams I had outside the top 3, just to mention. Like, because everyone's like, well, who are we missing here? Obviously, the Eagles, the Bills, and I didn't take the Bills seriously in the top 3, and I love Josh Allen, but I'm not a Bills believer. I think the Bills are probably maybe even a divisional round exit in the play. There's too many flaws on that roster. I don't like their defense. I think they're way too Josh Allen reliant. I don't trust the Bills, so I'm definitely not putting them in there. I almost put the Eagles in. Packers to me are like they had a couple really good games to start the season, and they're not playing their best ball, which is okay because they do have potential to significantly improve. Micah had 3 sacks last week. I mean, this is a good football team, but not a top 3 team. I'm not going to put the Rams in there. I'm not going to put Tampa in there right now. Seattle's solid, good, well-rounded team, but they're not going to be in there. Denver, San Francisco were other considerations. In no particular order, Lions, Colts, and Chiefs. And look, guys, like not that long ago, I'm sitting here doubting whether the Chiefs were going to be able to get their 11th straight AFC West title. I thought it was very doubtful, and I thought it like maybe not even a wild card team. It was that questionable to me about where they were offensively back when they started 0-2 and some other issues. And I think they're arguably the best team in the league right now. Rashee Rice didn't play with Patrick Mahomes for like a year because he was hurt last year. And then he was suspended for 6 games, and he gets 10 targets and 7 catches and 2 touchdowns in the game. And Patrick Mahomes is throwing him no-look passes in the game. So Andy and Pat just make things work. They might be the best team in football. They're certainly one of the top 3. We're back to a league where we look at the Chiefs and think, man, are they the standard? Which is wild because it just shows how fast things change.
We didn't even think they were going to make the playoffs.
Freaking crazy. It's crazy. It just shows how fast things change in the
We thought
NFL.
the AFC West, they're not the kings of it anymore,
crazy.
And now all of a sudden they're back. And it's only 7 games into the season. It's
crazy. Reminder that the trade deadline is November 4th. We're coming up on it. It's coming up quickly. There are some names being thrown around out there. We'll get into that shortly. Actually, no. Let me just get into that really quickly now. When teams really suck early in the season, the rumors start to swirl about teams going into rebuilding mode and trying to find building blocks. And I always find this paradox interesting because it's like you're not good, and so you're going to then get rid of a really good young player in order to find building blocks. Like, is he not a building block? Right? So Max Crosby, for example, there's rumors that the Cowboys, no surprise because the Cowboys want a more affordable pass rusher than Micah Parsons. There's rumors that the Cowboys are interested in Max Crosby. And the Raiders have said publicly, we're not shopping him, so it doesn't matter. I don't blame the Raiders, but the rumors are still out there. And so someone inside the Raiders organization at some point probably said, we would at least listen to teams.
Yeah.
Right? But Max is one of the most talented young players, not that young, but he's one of the most talented players in football. And his cap number is not even that crazy. Max is around $30 million a year. Reminder that Micah Parsons is 47. Max is not $17 million worse than Micah. The value for Max is awesome. So if you're the Raiders, it's I really hope the truth is that they're not shopping him because it's you're going to get rid of that to then find building blocks. You're going to get rid of that to then get pieces to go find that. Right? What is this vicious circle of being terrible, right?
Yeah.
I think Pete Carroll's smarter than that. I refuse to believe that. I've heard Chase Olave's name thrown out there. Or Chris Olave, sorry. For the Saints. The Saints are not good. They're 1-6 or whatever it is. And so it's we can maybe that is a good young piece to build around at receiver, right? So I don't always understand the speculation on some of these guys, but just keep in mind, I've even heard Trey Hendrickson's name thrown out there because since he's not very good, but now they might actually have a chance to win their division because Joe Flacco can float them and their division's not very good. And the Ravens are 1-5. Pittsburgh's there, but Pittsburgh, maybe a little unstable at that top spot. So I don't know where this all goes, but keep in mind, November 4th, trade deadline. I think there will be at least one trade where we're dang, I really do think there'll be one. I don't know which one it's going to be, but I think there'll be one. And then lastly, right now, these can fly under the radar, but the fall NFL meetings in New York City are going on, where all the key stakeholders for teams, sometimes not owners, get together and discuss issues around the league in the fall. They do also do this in the offseason as well, but they're doing it right now based on the first 7 weeks of the season. And they'll discuss the tush push. You'll hear more fallout on that and whether or not they're going to keep that play. They're not going to make any decisions right now. That's an offseason decision. But they're at least going to further discuss it right now. All the key issues are being discussed. Roger Goodell's there. Some media members are there. And when media members are around, what you get is owners in front of a microphone. And we don't always get owners in front of microphones because some owners after games are gone. And you don't get many chances to interview these guys. Not all of them are Jerry Jones where they get in a circle and they start telling, because Jerry's also a GM. And what we got this week during the owners meeting was Woody Johnson, the Jets owner, getting a chance to get in front of a microphone, kind of an informal interview. And someone asked him about the team and, hey, you guys haven't won a game yet. You guys are really bad. Aaron Glenn's your first-year head coach. Like, what do you think? Here's what Woody Johnson said. He expressed confidence in Aaron Glenn, which at this point I think he should. Smart move, even though they're not very good. There's no reason for him to. But he took some shots at his quarterback. And he said, it'd be nice if we could, he basically said it'd be nice if we can complete a pass.
Yeah.
And he's talking about Justin Fields, who was got his bell rung last week, may not even play this week. Tyrod Taylor's in the mix to start. Now, Tyrod might not be available because his knee's messed up. I don't know when that even happened, but Tyrod is questionable now. And I took exception to Woody Johnson's comments about Justin Fields. Not because I think Justin Fields is this superstar that hey, don't say that about him. Let him do his thing. He's going to blossom. Quite frankly, I think Justin Fields has shown us what he is in the NFL. 61% passer, pretty inconsistent, can run. The Jets, hey, you're the ones that went and got him and made him your starter. I think he's shown on 2 different teams already in the NFL, the Bears and the Steelers, what he is.
Yeah.
And you went and got him. And he's not living up to your expectations, and now you're throwing him under the bus. Thankfully, for the Jets' sake, Justin Fields is not the type to run his mouth. He kind of keeps his mouth shut and, by all accounts, just keeps his head down and keeps working. So let me just do a quick exercise here. Let me play Justin Fields for a second. And I don't know Justin, so to be clear, I'm not putting words in Justin's mouth. I'm saying what I would be thinking if I were Justin and what I would say back behind closed doors to Woody Johnson if I wanted to lose my job. I'd say back to Woody Johnson, I'd say this. Okay, you want to publicly criticize me for my performance this year. Our team, we're losing these games as a team. Justin has not been perfect by any means, but we're losing these games as a team. And you're going to come at me as the quarterback of the Jets and say basically Woody put it all on him, that if we're doing a lot of other things well, if a quarterback can complete a pass, we might be okay. All right, Woody, let me remind you. You blew through Sam Darnold and made Sam Darnold look like he didn't even belong in the NFL as a top 5 pick. And Sam has moved on and become a really good quarterback for the Vikings and now a franchise quarterback for the Seahawks. And the Seahawks are a top 10 team in football, largely because of what they do at quarterback. And they're complete. Defense, all that stuff.
Yep.
It's a well-coached team, but Sam has been crazy efficient this year. One of the best passers in the league from an efficiency standpoint. Yep. You blew through him and moved on from him. Then you got the number 2 pick eventually, and you took Zach Wilson, you blew that. Okay? And I'm not saying Zach Wilson should have become a star, but I'm saying, hey, you drafted him. It didn't work. Your decision, your franchise's decision. That didn't work. Then you go get maybe the greatest talent of all time at that position in Aaron Rodgers. Late in his career, not a washed-up version, but a different version of Aaron. Aaron's obviously can still play. Yes, he tore his Achilles, and the year after that probably was not himself, but you blew that. That didn't work. Aaron's over there steering the ship for the Steelers, and they look pretty damn good, and Aaron's made some incredible throws this year. You blew that. And now you go to get a guy who historically has not been great in Justin Fields. He's shown you who he is, and you're the 32nd team, dead last in the NFL in passing, and you're going to throw this cat under the bus. This is why bad teams are bad, right? With all due respect to Mr. Johnson, stick to vaccines and do all the stuff you do in your business. Because comments like this is exactly why you suck, why your team and your organization are not good, is because this is how you look at things. Things aren't going well, and you throw this guy under the bus when all of us, every fan now with information in the NFL, all the information at our hands, all the people that cover the league, fans of your organization are smart enough to realize you're full of it. You have failed time and time and time and time and time and time again to put the right guy, I shouldn't say put the right guy under center, to assist and facilitate success for the guy, for whoever you choose to be under center. And all those guys that you've had that have failed generally have been successful elsewhere for the most part. And now you're going to throw this dude under the bus. So not only does it do nothing for your locker room right now when the owner comes out and throws him under the bus and creates all this animosity and sort of this, I'm sure Justin Fields is pissed off about it. That's not going to make him want to play better for you. But you've also proven that, hey, you're part of the problem. Justin's not going to say this. I wish he would. That'd be really cool if he got behind a microphone and said, hey, guys, here's the facts. You tell me who's screwing things up, right? So that one struck me the wrong way. Is once again, and please look at our mini pod that we put out last night about ownership styles. We talked about Carly Ursay-Gordon and her ownership style so far in her short tenure as the owner of the Colts versus these other owners that don't really know where to fit in. And I would put Woody Johnson in that category. They don't know where to fit in. And then they do stuff like this, and it's like so counterproductive and also so hypocritical because you have consistently made decisions and put people in place to bring about failure within your organization. And now you're going to throw this guy under the bus. It really bothered me. It irked me. And I felt like we had to say something about it today.
No, and I agree with you in the sense, I agree with you with everything you said. And you just have to ask yourself with what I'm speaking to the media, does this help my franchise? Right? It's as simple as that. Does throwing a player under the bus help my franchise that is still wearing that color? It never really helps, even if that player is not wearing it. If you talk bad about Aaron Rodgers, it doesn't help your franchise. You should always approach it with the positive light. If I'm an owner in that situation, he's not used to those interviews, and he probably didn't think that would get caught as viral as it did. I would just say,
why would it not?
Yeah, I would just say, hey, listen, it hasn't been the year we wanted. We still have a lot of faith in Aaron Glenn. This is the first year. We know it's a process. In Detroit, they had a rough year as well. We're sort of doing that as well. We know that he's just continuing to build the culture like he wants it. If they ask about the quarterback play, be like, listen, the quarterback play has not been to the standard that we want, but we still believe in our quarterbacks. We're still working towards it, and we believe in the future. It's as simple as that.
Because that's who you have right now. That's not changing.
Yeah.
You want to throw him under the bus, do it after the season when you release him.
Listen,
right?
It's the worst thing you can do as an owner is if you take that interview and you're thinking, wow, I just gave this guy, I agreed to a 2-year deal, $40 million, $30 million guaranteed, $15 million signing bonus. And that's what you think when you sit there. This is a human being. This is your quarterback. There are more pieces at play. Like, is the offense built around Justin to give him success, or is this a coordinator in his first year going in and just running an offense that's the only thing he knows, and you're just going to run this offense that's time tested and it was ran 20 years ago? It's like, that's not the success you want. Or even if we did this in Detroit, like, Jared Goff is not Justin Fields, and Justin Fields is not Jared Goff. Justin Fields is a different quarterback. He's running around. He can do these RPOs. He can do these zone reads. Probably wants to be in the gun with some play actions. Like, are you building around Justin to give him success? There's a lot of information that says he's around a 60% passer.
That's what he is.
That's what you're getting. That's what you paid for.
You chose him.
And now he's playing.
You paid him.
And then fans listening right now be like, well, he's played a lot worse. Well, you don't know all the pieces to the puzzle. You don't know what's going on in the meetings. I believe it's a first-year coordinator that's never been leading a room and calling these plays. So you have all these issues at work in year one of Aaron Glenn's tenure. Yeah. Detroit had the same issues with Dan Campbell the first year, but they kept going through. And at the end of the year, they got a couple of victories.
They also didn't have an owner doing this.
They did not.
Right. And by the way, Woody, it's your asset. The Jets are your asset. You can do whatever the hell you want. Right. That's the luxury you have as an owner in the NFL of a private organization like this. You do whatever the hell you want. But it just makes no sense on so many levels to take this approach when everybody knows, while Justin is far from perfect, everybody knows that your organization breeds failure at that position, by and large. And then you're going to come out and try to act like that's not the case, and if we just had a better quarterback, we'd be fine. Yeah. It is utterly ridiculous that that's the approach he's decided to take. Again, your asset, you do whatever you want to devalue your asset. Have at it. But we're going to comment on it. And it just makes no sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, you said it best. It's your asset. I mean, I wouldn't want to throw my asset under the bus. He's He's wearing a
I
Jets
wouldn't want to
jersey.
throw your asset under the bus either, man.
Well, we have a lot of friends.
That's a big asset right there. Your asset might hurt the bus.
It might hurt the bus, but we have friends that are Jets fans, and it's the same thing every year. Like they start the season, and then
fans are smart. They know.
Yeah.
They're looking at. They're like, this ain't Justin Fields, dude. Stop.
Yeah, he looks really uncomfortable out there, and they just can't get anything going. No flow, no rhythm. And let me just say this: you can't just run plays that look good on film from another team and expect it to work the next week. Like you have to have an identity as an offense, and it all has to go together. And it matches, your run game, your play action, everything, formations. Like there's a rhythm and a mastermind to all this to have great success. And a lot of people can't do it. And the Jets are showing, like, offensively, they don't have that in the building.
So while we're on the pettiness topic and the wrong way to handle things, let's hit one other thing real quick. Something interesting that came out this week was after the Denver comeback against the Giants. In the press conference after, Sean Payton was understandably still very frustrated. His thought was, hey, you know what? We're going to celebrate today, but, man, we've got a lot of work to do. The fact they were down as much as they were and were shut out through 3 quarters, as a coach, you're like, man, it was great we came back. That's cool. Like let's latch on to that. But man, what the hell happened through quarters 1 through 3? So Sean Payton was frustrated after the game while also being happy about finding a way to win. And he decides to say, like, hey, he decides to go this route. I've got a good relationship with the Mara family who own the Giants and Tish. And, I mentioned to him at some point that I wish you would have made the quarterback change after we played you instead of before. We all know what that means. We all know Sean Payton and Russell Wilson didn't get along. We know Russell Wilson wasn't good enough in Denver. And we know he's throwing shade at Russ, saying that, hey, if Russ is playing in that game, we don't struggle nearly as much as we did. He's probably right, okay? Just to be very clear, he's probably right. But what a petty approach. After you beat them, after you came back and had the most miraculous quarter in NFL history with like 33 points after being shut out through the first 3, after that comeback, what a petty approach. And congratulations to Sean Payton because you actually got Russ to respond. Russ, it's out of character for Russ to respond. He doesn't really do this. And Russ decides to go on social media and says, quote, classless, but not surprised. Didn't realize you're still bounty hunting. Ooh, he takes the reference from the bounty. The bounty hunting 15 plus years later through the media. So I'm fine with what Russ did here. Look, respectfully, I'm a fan of Sean Payton from his coaching acumen. Very smart offensive mind. I trust Denver overall because of who their head coach is. So I have a lot of respect for Sean Payton, the football coach. Sean Payton, the person, to me, incredibly egotistical and hard to listen to and not very likable. Just going to be honest with you. He comes across in a way that I talked to very few guys that have played for him that go like, oh, I love Sean Payton, right? Knows how to win. Really good offensive coach.
Great play
steered
caller.
the ship with Drew Brees for a long time, and they were an amazing football team. Ton of respect in that regard. But what a petty way to handle a post-game press conference after you just did something. Focus on what your team just did really well. You decide to take a shot at Russell Wilson. I mean, how bad was it in Denver for you when Russ was in Denver for you to take the opportunity to do that? Because everybody knows what you're doing. So I again, put that in the same realm of pettiness as the Woody Johnson comments about Justin Fields. And we, just like we talked about last show, coaches that don't know how to handle the narrative with media and can probably buy themselves another year of coaching a team based off how they handle the media and what they say to instill hope in a franchise moving forward. We see guys keep stumbling and doing things that are just silly in front of the media.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me that Sean Payton was petty like that. It surprises me that Russ actually commented back, but that also tells me that there was more going on in Denver that Russ will never talk about. He's not going to bring that to light because he just doesn't want to. Right. It's moved on. There's a lot of things that happen in a facility throughout the year with personalities and egos that you're just like, you know what? It stays in the building. It stays in the building. That's just part of it. But Russ's last year in Denver, he didn't play in his time in Denver like they wanted him to play or what they paid him to play for, like he played in Seattle. But I'm just looking at his last year in Denver. He got benched the last 2 games, but he played 15 games. He threw for over 3,000 yards. He threw 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 66% completion, 98 passer rating, which is solid. It's not great, but remember, they were a really, really bad team the year before.
Yeah.
And then this is Sean's first year. He went 7-8 as a starter. His yards per attempt was 7.2. So those stats are, middle of the road. They're not awful. They're not great. But It's not that all surprised me how bad that went down and the feelings that Sean Payton has towards Russell Wilson. I know that.
Yeah, dude. What did he do to you?
Yeah, I have no idea. But to go out there and make a shot, once again, you're in a leadership position. You know, whether
Petty.
you're an owner that we talked about with Woody Johnson or a head coach in Sean Payton, you're held to a standard that you should uphold. And it just means just don't be petty in those situations. Like bring light. Like you don't even need. Just say Jackson Dart's a great young player
and stop there.
And you're really impressed with what they have, and that's it. And then obviously you as the Broncos have a lot to work on. Like you've got really lucky from the lack of coaching on the Giants side because that was just a total ultimate failure in the fourth quarter. I've been a part of a game like that. My last year in Indianapolis, we were playing against the Vikings and. Saturday was the head coach, and we all of a sudden are up over 30 points going into the second half. We then lose the game, and it's the greatest comeback in the history of a regular season in the NFL. They might have broke the record this last game. I don't even know. But that was it. That was our last hope that season, and after that game was lost, the season was done. Like, it was completely done. Energy in the building was shot. Everyone realized that there needs to be a new regime in here as a whole. Like, that was Jeff's last chance to even have a chance to coach in the NFL. And I look at the Giants in this situation, like that's a total and ultimate failure as a coaching staff. And say, like, yeah, your players, there were some mistakes that happened or whatever, but you as the coaches have to bring them together, have those conversations, and facilitate a game plan in the second half, in the fourth quarter that just wins the game. Like, you have such a cushion. You should be able to facilitate something that close out this game. And the fact that you find a way to lose it is ultimately amazing. There was some rookie mistakes from Jackson Dart that we expect, but that being said, he also played a really great game for most of the game, and he just continues to be the bright spot for the New York Giants.
The way Sean handled that, I think, points to, and again, the way Woody handled what he said for the Jets, points to a theme that we talked about in our mini pod last night when we're talking about the Colts and ownership style. It points to a theme in the NFL. The NFL is an incentive-based business, but one of the sort of unintentional byproducts is it breeds an environment of it wasn't my fault when things go wrong. And finger pointing inside a building when teams start to lose is typically rampant. And it happens all the time. I mean, unfortunately, I've been on teams that have lost way more than I've been on teams that have won. And you get professional finger pointing in a building. So much so that you have a team who's 5-2 in Denver, and you've got a coach who still is implying or indirectly finger pointing at a guy from last year saying, hey, by the way, just so you guys remember, that wasn't my fault. That was Russell Wilson's fault, right? That's what he's doing. And he's just really skilled at getting that point across because he's been doing this for a long time. Sean Payton's been a head coach for 20 years or whatever it is with Saints and all the way through to Denver. He's been doing this for a long time. He's very skilled at it. So you have to be able to spot it. And it's part of the culture of finger pointing in the NFL. The great ones, avoid it. The bad ones, and I know Sean Payton's a good coach. I'm not saying he's not a good coach, but the pettiness reigns always with stuff like this when it comes to failures because everyone's looking to point the finger.
One last thought on that subject. Just from a locker room perspective, when you have a coach that does that, you might win a game like they did, but when all this news is coming out, and there might be players say, oh, yeah, with Russ, I see what he's saying, whatever. What you're doing is you're not taking accountability as the coach of the team. Right. And you're basically saying the reason we weren't good is because of Russell. You're not saying the reason we weren't good was because of me. You're saying it was because of Russ. Well, you're not taking the accountability. The best head coaches, the ones that really change that locker room and have success, are the ones that say, listen, it starts with me. It's on me. Like, yeah, this was great. We won the game, but we have a lot of work. I have a lot of work to do. We're going to enjoy this victory, but we got to get back to work. We as a coaching staff have to be better. Yep. And then we have to put our players in a better position. You're not allowing the players to take accountability because you're also putting it on Russ as well. You're putting all this weight on Russ. He's not even there. And you're just saying, like, it's his fault, it's his fault. No, take the accountability, because in the locker room, when I see a coach that gets in front of the mic in those clips, they're all over social media now, and he takes the ownership of what is going on, it means a lot to me as a player. It's like, man, that's the guy that's standing in front of the team meeting room every single day.
Because you as players know the truth.
We know the truth.
Yeah, you know what
you
the truth
can't lie
is.
to us.
Yeah, exactly.
And there might be times
so the fact he's taking the bullet, you're like, that's impressive.
Hey,
right?
When a coach does that for you, and I always talk about Andy Reid. Andy Reid has always been the best at that in the media, where he just takes it every time, the ownership. In the locker room in KC, we as players got fired up and angry at ourselves because we're like, Andy doesn't have to be doing that for us. We're not going to let Andy fall on that sword.
Yeah.
We have to go back to work because we don't want our head coach having to take the blame for stuff we did. But the second you blame someone else as a head coach, you're telling your players like it was them, and your players like, oh, it was them.
And now the players start to point the finger too.
And then,
they're like,
so in that situation, just because of the press conference in Denver, I'm actually worried about the Broncos with how that pettiness approach, because that also that goes into the locker room and seeps into the locker room. Whereas if he just took ownership, I'd be really confident in what the Broncos are going to do going forward.
I don't think this is an overreaction to this situation, because I thought it made waves for a reason, and I think Sean Payton knew exactly what he was doing with that comment.
Let's get to some positive stuff. There's been too much pettiness in the NFL in the last week.
For our listeners, let's kind of do a status update of where we are in the NFL and who's playing well, both from a team standpoint and also from an individual player standpoint. So I always think it's helpful to do this in the context of odds. So right now, the updated Super Bowl odds, and this is changing rapidly. I mean, we go back 2 weeks, it looks totally different. The updated Super Bowl odds, like if you want to lay a bet on a team to win the Super Bowl, okay, and the books do their research, so these have merit, right? They also play on public sentiment a little bit, but these have merit. As of today, the Chiefs are your favorite. In Vegas, your Chiefs are the favorite to win the Super Bowl at plus 500, right? Still a bit of a long shot, but plus 500. Shortly behind them, the Lions at plus 600. Right behind them are the Packers and Bills tied at plus 800. And then it's the Eagles, Rams, and Colts at plus 1,100. Okay, so I think that's super interesting because the Chiefs are up front. Lions, understandably, are right about where you'd think they would be. I still think the Bills are too high. Love Josh Allen, but I've said many times I think the Bills are still too high. Packers being tied for third is interesting because this is a team that is winning, but it not always in the most impressive fashion, and they kind of fall asleep at times, and you're not really sure what. I'm not really sure what the Packers' ceiling is, but those odds are super interesting, and that's where we are right now from a betting standpoint to win the Super Bowl. Anything crazy jump out at you, Nick, on that?
No, I just think the year it's going to keep changing.
Yeah, just wait till next week, right?
Right when we think a team has gotten over the hump, then they regress. So I'm just honestly what I'm learning doing this season pod this year is it's week to week, analyze the week, what could happen going forward, what has happened in the past. It is a week to week year this year. There is no powerhouse right now. The fact that the Chiefs are now Patrick Mahomes, the Chiefs are back up top when 3 or 4 weeks ago, everyone's like, man, this is
crazy.
I mean, I did say I wasn't worried about them.
Because of who they are and who their quarterback is and who their head coach is, the Chiefs are going to climb back to the top faster.
But how they've done
it,
they have climbed back so fast. And then the Chargers have been plummeting. And then the Broncos, they're 5-2, but we just spoke about
shaky.
With everything going on, I don't see the trajectory looking good. So the AFC West, the kings of it are still the Chiefs.
Yep, no question. Updated MVP odds. Okay, and to be clear, I'll say this before we list off the odds. This is a quarterback award. Jonathan Taylor's not even on the radar here, which is crazy. He is for Offensive Player of the Year, which I'll get to in a second. But the MVP award has just become a quarterback award. And for a guy like Jonathan Taylor, who's been fantastic, leads the league in rushing, 11 total touchdowns, over 5 yards a carry, he should be in here, but he's not. So they updated MVP odds. Mahomes at plus 125. He's almost even money to win the award. And all he's doing is getting pieces back as we go too. So the expectation is, hey, he's going to keep playing even better as the season goes on. And so that's why he's your favorite. And he's also had a hell of a year so far. Josh Allen at plus 360. Number 2. Baker has shifted to plus 700. Rough game last week. I thought the Lions did a lot of things to throw him off. He also just had an off night. But he's still the third favorite at plus 700. Drake May, first one on here from that second-year quarterback class that we mentioned, between him and Jaden Daniels, the guys in that class so far. Drake May at plus 800. They've got a good defense. They've got a great coach. The culture seems to be right. Drake May at 4th at plus 800. Stafford at plus 1,000. Goff at plus 1,800. Dak Prescott at plus 2,000. The reason I'm going this far is to get to Daniel Jones. He's all the way down at plus 2,500. So long shot, right? And I think part of that is hey, Colts, we believe at 6-1. You're the only one-loss team left in the league. We believe you guys are good. Give us 3 to 4 more weeks of Daniel proving to us that he can maintain this. And then I think you might see Daniel Jones kind of shoot up.
Yeah.
I think it's very possible if Daniel stays on the same trajectory he's on now, that his odds of winning MVP could really shoot up by week 10 or 11. I just think the people, the perception, the books, they want to see a little bit more because like we've seen teams be world beaters in the first 8 weeks of the season. We've seen that before. But it's when you get to late November, early December, like when injuries start to mount, are you still the same team? We'll see. Offensive Rookie of the Year odds. I'm bringing this one up because guess who's number one? Jackson Dart, as of right now, at plus 110. The Offensive Rookie of the Year last year was Jaden Daniels. Jackson Dart, if he continues to play at the level he's currently playing, despite losses, even if they lose a bunch of games, I mean,
he's still playing
I think
great.
Dart's got a shot.
Yeah, I agree.
Because right behind him is Emeka Ibuka. He's had a hamstring injury, but he played on Monday night. It's hard for a receiver to win this award because they got to show up every single week. So it'll be hard for him to edge out Dart if Jackson Dart just takes care of the football and does what he's doing. It's going to be tough. Tyler Warren is number 3. The tight end from Penn State, the rookie for Indy. Is he a rookie? Yeah, rookie from Indy. I was like already getting confused this year too. Or Tyler Warren's at plus 450. Tyler Warren, as we knew from his days at Penn State, a very, very good all-around football player, and he's doing a lot of great things. He's in the mix for Offensive Rookie of the Year. And Offensive Player of the Year, different category now, not rookie, but Offensive Player of the Year. This is where you can start to put running backs in because running backs don't get consideration anymore for MVP. Jonathan Taylor at minus 110. Heavy favorite right now. Very understandable. Jonathan Taylor's having an awesome year. Leads the league in rushing, 11 total touchdowns, 10 rushing, 1 passing or 1 receiving. Over 5 yards a carry behind a great offensive line. Got to stay healthy, and this could be his award. Jackson Smith and Jigba for the Seattle Seahawks, having a great year at plus 400, and Christian McCaffrey at plus 500. I think Christian's got a shot because what this team's been able to accomplish, the Niners that is, despite all their injuries, a lot of it is on his shoulders. Mac Jones has been great. Kyle Shanahan's a fantastic football coach. But Christian McCaffrey at plus 500, man, like, you got to throw him in because he's been carrying the load. I worry he gets too many touches. I hope he can stay at it the whole year and not get nicked up. But he's in the mix as well. And lastly, Defensive Player of the Year awards. The early odds. Guess who's number 1? Micah Parsons at plus 180. Coming off 3 sacks from last week. He's probably going to end up with 13 to 15 sacks this year, which puts him squarely in the mix. Reminder, last year was Patrick Surtain II from Denver. Mike is at plus 180. Aiden Hutchinson, good to see him back and playing well after last year's injury. He's at plus 320. And Nick Bonito of the Denver Broncos, who's just a sack machine, at plus 450. He doesn't have the name recognition that Micah Parsons has. You get the sense if Micah's just in the ballpark with these guys on a new team and not even doing training camp, that he's going to get most of the votes. You get the sense on that. And Coach of the Year, not surprising. We're looking at Shane Steichen plus 150, Mike Vrabel plus 290, and you got to throw Kyle Shanahan in the mix. He's a long shot at plus 850. But for them to only have 2 losses with all these injuries, yes, they've been generally healthy on the offensive line, but Kyle Shanahan has done a masterful job this year. Anything crazy jump out to you on those categories?
No, I think we have a new segment, Evan's Important Stats of the Week. That was a lot of statistics. Very interesting to see. This will continue to change. The next thing, I actually have another petty part.
What do you got?
So it's in your next part, hot seats, which I don't think we'll get. I mean, I don't know how.
No,
much
I think it's a good part. We just did Coach of the Year. So which one?
So
of these guys on the hot seat?
we left out a pettiness. Mike McDaniel. Like, I feel like his was up there. He's doing an interview. They're asking if Tua's going to play, and he makes this quote: "He's going to take the snaps this week, and he's going to be our starter this week. And my expectation is that we don't throw 10 picks."
Interesting. Now, remember,
he's thrown 10 interceptions this year, and he's thrown, I think, 6 in the last 2 games.
Miami's coming off an ugly loss where they were 1 for 13 on third down. By the way, you know who's drawn up the offense? Mike McDaniel.
Yeah.
1 for 13 on third down, 11 penalties for over 100 yards, and 4 turnovers. Mike McDaniel's days in Miami are numbered. Mike McDaniel is a talented offensive coach. I think it's impossible not to draw some parallels to Cliff Kingsbury. Like, Cliff is a great offensive football coach. He's a big reason why Jaden did what he did last year. But Cliff also never even was above 500 at Texas Tech as a head coach.
Yeah.
Cliff has never been proven that he can be a really good head coach. Now, granted, situations matter. Like, he had Mahomes at Texas Tech, for crying out loud, and never even got close to winning the Big 12 with Patrick Mahomes. But I think we've seen it's very clear that Cliff is doing what he should be doing. That's focusing on calling plays. And I think that's the direction that Mike McDaniel's headed. I don't think he's got the right personality to be a head coach. I think some of that stuff was funny when they were like semi-successful.
Yeah, he got away with it when they were
interesting.
successful.
But then when you start getting beat, you're like, calf-high capris and all that. It just doesn't really reflect well, right? So Mike's days are numbered. I think Aaron Glenn's days are numbered too. Look, there's not very many. Like, they just lost to Carolina, the Jets. And there are not many, and I know this is hard to say in the NFL because no game, like, you just never know what's going to happen week to week, but there are not many winnable games on their schedule that are left. And it's crazy to say, and it probably won't happen because, like, flukes happen. 0-16 is a possibility, is a real possibility. There's a lot of games left.
0-17.
But the way it looks, 0-17, the way it looks and the way it's looked so far and all the deficiencies on this team, and now you got owners calling the quarterback out, and your starting quarterback is hurt, and your backup quarterback appears to have a knee issue, this team might not win a game all year. And if that happens, Aaron Glenn, I don't even think survives 2-15, to be honest with you.
Really?
I know you thought that early in the year that they might still be. I don't.
Well, I thought I got excited last week when I was like Jets. Like, I really thought that if they're going to win a game, it was going to be last week, and they just looked awful.
So you can actually bet on them going winless on the books.
I'd say that there's a chance for sure.
It's plus 2,500. That's a long shot.
Yeah.
Right. It means you bet $100, you win 2,500. Like, that is a very long shot. Books don't offer that for something that's likely. And the reality is in the NFL, well, it's the NFL. These guys are still pros, right? Yeah. They still have guys. They have Garrett Wilson on your team. You have Breece Hall on your team. These guys are good football players, right? But I feel like the Jets may find a way to really accomplish that this year. And if they do, maybe we should throw $100 on it.
Yeah, maybe.
Just finance some new equipment for the show. Yeah. This is brought to you by the Jets going 0-17. How good would that be? What if we do it? What if as a show we put like $1,000 on the Jets to go winless, and we won boatloads of cash, and then it financed our operations for like a full year, and we started every show by, this show is brought to you by the 0-17 Jets. We thank them very much for all this new equipment. We got like new lights on the wall.
And we would have
pay the mortgage.
We would have leftover to donate to an impactful cause.
We would certainly be the first show to be bankrolled by a winless football team. I think we should make that bet just for the hell of it.
I think it's a interesting bet.
We're gonna put a few $100 on the Jets to go winless, and multiply that by 2,500, and that's what we're looking at getting. Or 2,500.
So now I can't
multiply by 250. 2,500 per 100.
So now I can't be cheering on the Jets to turn this around
by
with
25. Sorry,
Aaron Glenn. I guess I can't pick the Jets anymore this year.
So you heard it here. We're going to throw a bet on them to go winless, and if we win it, all of our off-season content will be sponsored by the winless Jets. I like it.
And we'll donate a portion of it to an impactful cause.
Yes,
we won't take charity. I can't take it all.
So we'll split the risk. And we will then it'll be a sponsor if it hits.
Yeah.
So we're
this show is brought to you by the 0-17 New York Jets.
Genius. I love it. We're all about making good investments with smart money, and I think that might be smart money. Okay, let's come back to the Chiefs. I want to talk about them against the Raiders. AFC West looks quite a bit different than it did a few weeks ago. The Chiefs host the Raiders. It was Big Pick Nick's pick of the week.
There was some doubt in this room on my Big Pick Nick.
Who takes a division game and lays 11.5 points?
Well, I did. So I did my research, and I told you on the show at Arrowhead, Raiders and Chiefs, Andy Reid, the average score is 32-19. That's 13 points, right? And the Raiders are worse.
You're a stat guy, huh?
Yeah, gathering some information.
Guy. The communication major at Arizona is a numbers guy. I like this.
I like to see some numbers. I'm on the show. You got to have some numbers. Like, we're going to get into some passing stats, rushing stats. Like, I want to see some stats, but I know that doesn't always tell the story. But I felt really confident in. I said they would win by more than. I said at least two touchdowns. And in the first quarter, it was 14-0, and I was texting the SZN Pod text thread. Yeah, where we get a lot of our work done, or breakfast orders from Eller. And I was saying it's already 14-0. This is looking good.
Big balls, Nick. Hey. I mean, for you to...
I got a good one today, too.
Instead of BDN, it's BBN on your picks.
I got a double-digit spread pick today, too.
11.5 in a division game, and I know the Raiders suck, but he lays it. And the Chiefs win 31-0. The Chiefs were in victory formation with over 2 minutes left. Mahomes didn't even play in the fourth quarter.
It was a mercy rule.
It was basically mercy rule. And I thought Andy, out of respect for Pete, just said, "Hey, like let's kneel. Like, this is ridiculous." Like, Andy was trying to slow down. I think Andy respects Pete Carroll.
This is
and-
also Andy's first shutout win, I think, in his
Well,
career.
that defense is still – that's one thing that we probably
in his
overlooked.
whole career.
Yeah,
Like-
but I think that's one thing we've overlooked is the Chiefs' defense has been good for 3 years now.
Yeah.
And that's going to help them win football games. So listen to this. Chiefs had 30 first downs. The Raiders only had 30 plays. The Raiders ran 30 plays in the game. The Chiefs had 30 first downs. The Raiders had 95 total net yards in the game. 75 passing yards, under 100 passing yards. 75 passing yards, 25 rushing yards. You might be like, well, Evan, that's 100. You're correct, but they lost 5 yards through a sack. So 95 net total yards the Raiders had in the game. Look, it got me thinking, like Pete Carroll, because you thought, hey, maybe the Raiders make a little bit of a
I thought Pete Carroll, Chip Kelly having an opportunity after, starting, getting into the NFL. I was with him in Philadelphia.
All of it made sense.
I really enjoyed my time with him. We had that was a really, really fun offense to run, like so much fun. And then he goes to college. He gets back in college. He gains more wisdom, gains more knowledge, wins the national championship at Ohio State. I'm thinking, like, he's coming back in the NFL with so much more knowledge. There's no way they're going to be as bad as they are.
Yeah.
This is shocking to me that Chip came back in the NFL with Pete Carroll, and so Chip doesn't even have to be the head coach. He's just controlling the offense, and they're as bad as they are. This surprises me for sure.
So one thing, and we'll get to the Chiefs more in a second, but with the Raiders, look, there's no question there's a losing culture there. This is never good when you're, first round pick after a game. Ashton Genty made the comment, quote, "If we're being honest, it's been a losing culture around here for a long time." And Nick and I have commented on here many times, like, culture matters. And this is like, you don't lose 31-0 by accident. There's a culture issues there. And it got me thinking about Pete and how this century, so Pete got to USC in like 02, like the end of 01, 02. His first season at SC wasn't great. They went to like the Vegas Bowl. And Pete earlier, like in the 90s, had some, unsuccessful coaching stints, right? But this century, since the turn of the century at 2000, other than the first year at SC, Pete has been like, and maybe like the first year in Seattle, you're trying to get off the ground a little bit. Pete has been like utterly dominant. Like I was at Stanford when I was recruited by Pete when I was in high school. Then I was at Stanford when Pete was at USC, and I was on the other side of like this like legacy this dynasty they were building. And I can think of only one other situation where Pete was like completely humiliated. When he was at SC later in his tenure, after the Reggie Bush days and all that, but they were still really good. Stanford just beat the doors off him. This was the what's your deal game with Jim Harbaugh, where Harbaugh decides, okay, we're not just going to beat these guys. Like we're going to try to embarrass them. So Stanford late in the game, they already have a huge lead. They run power like 12 times in a row, which by the way is fine. You're not doing play action. You're just running power. And they were just running right over SC all the way down the field. Stanford scores to make it 53-21. What does Stanford do with Jim Harbaugh, who's like in his second or third year at Stanford at this point, third year maybe, with Toby Gerhart? Goes for 2. Goes for 2 to rub it in and score 55 points. And so after the game, that famous moment where Pete walks out, Jim walks out, Jim just tries to give him the casual handshake and walk away. And Pete grabs him and goes like, hey man, what's your deal? Right? That was a thing, right? At the time, the what's your deal game. That is the only time I can think of this century that Pete was this humiliated. Now, granted, Andy wasn't running it up on Pete. This is the NFL, man. Like, you got to find a way to stop guys. So I respect Andy for that. But the look on Pete's face on the side, remember, this is the oldest coach in the NFL. Pete, this is not what he signed up for. This is not what he came back for.
It surprised me
right?
that Pete's struggling this much in this
I
year.
I didn't see it coming. But look, a big part of this is what the Chiefs have become. So this is cool. Since an 0-2 start for the Chiefs, where we doubted the hell out of them and wondered if, like, man, what's going on here? Aging team going in the wrong direction. Since 0-2 start, this is what they've done in 5 games. 4-1, plus 71 point differential. That's number 1 in football over that span. Plus 601 yard differential. That's also number 1 in the NFL. Plus 6 in the turnover margin. They have taken it away 6 more times than they've given it away. That's number 2 in the NFL. And over that span, Mahomes is 14-1. 14 touchdowns, 1 interception. That's number 1 in the NFL. So since 0-2, and I'll be honest, I was one of them sitting here being like, man, I don't know what the Chiefs have. They have just, I don't even know the right term to use. Boy, have they said, like, everyone shut the hell up. We are still the Chiefs. And so that's really what happened to the Raiders. I'm still shocked to see this happening to Pete Carroll. But that's what happened. And here's the other amazing thing about the Chiefs. They have seemingly rebuilt their offensive line like 3 times in the last 5 years. This is the mark of a good organization, good coach, good player.
Great
personnel.
O-line coach too.
They've rebuilt their wide receiver core a couple times, and it's got like Patriots vibes, where like no matter who you threw in there with Tom, like he would make it work, right? Now, granted, some of those guys were immensely talented, like Randy Moss, but they'd make it work. And Patrick is turning like Rashee Rice, who hasn't played like in a year with him, into a superstar in one game. 7 catches, 2 touchdowns, no look passes, right? Andy, they just make it work. And Andy's a big part of that too. But when you got a quarterback like that, it makes it work. So the Chiefs are on a tear right now. And after a slow start, it's like doesn't even matter to them. They just keep on rolling. And that's really what happened to the Raiders. Still pathetic, 31-0. Didn't think we'd see Pete in this situation. But what the Chiefs have done since they started 0-2 is I want to say it's jaw-dropping, but I guess we should probably expect it at this point.
Yeah, I think everyone's just waiting for when they will struggle. But when Andy Reid's at the helm and Patrick Mahomes is healthy and Spags is a D coordinator and, Nagy's doing a good job of play calling and Tobes is the special teams coach, like they're going to be okay. I'll give you another stat because we were talking about statistics, all right? You talked about
guy.
Ashton Genty saying like
communications major going with the stats.
Hey, Ashton Genty saying, hey, let's just be honest, culture struggles. This is another thing like I talk about in interviews, like don't go there. Like, do not go there. You are a first-round pick. You're a guy that
why go there?
There's
right?
no need to go there because let me do this. There's another guy that's unfranchised the last 10 years that's really struggled. His name's Jackson Dart. And I don't ever see that from Jackson. Jackson is accountability, hunger, wanting to push. He is changing that franchise from within with his personality.
Double-decker.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
With his confidence. So let's just say this. Okay, we got 2 franchises. In the last 10 years, I'm like, trying not to laugh. God, this freaking just trying to get some statistics.
Sorry.
In the last 10 years, who has a better record between the Giants and the Raiders?
When they play each other?
No, just as a franchise, the last decade, overall record, who just in your mind triggers Giants or Raiders?
I'd say Giants.
Okay, so you're wrong.
I figured.
So
I'm just playing into your.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So the Raiders have a 421% or 421% win rate. So 61 games, lost 84. Giants won 57, lost 106. They've only had 2 over 500 seasons each team in the last 10 years. So both teams, same situation. Last 10 years, culture has not been great there. Once again, Jackson Dart changing the franchise with his personality, with his play, and with his swag and accountability. And I would challenge Ashton, like, you can do that too.
Yeah.
You can do what Cam Scattaboo is doing there. Hey, though it's going bad, like, let's be positive. Let's get this. Let's change this culture. Let's make it a positive, like what you did at Boise State. They have you there. You can change the locker room. Guys are going to look at you at the running back as the first-round pick. Hey, if this guy's not rattled and he continues to bring it every single day and he stays positive in the media, it's eventually going to turn around.
Yeah.
But the second you make those comments in the media, you are not taking accountability. You're blaming the franchise for your lack of success, and you're damaging the franchise and you're damaging the locker room. You have an opportunity as a potential leader down the road because of where they drafted you. You might not have asked to be the leader, but now you are considered. They're looking to you to lead because you are a first-round pick. Jackson Dart, Cam Scattaboo, I have high expectations for the Giants franchise in the future. Once again, do not know if it will be with this specific coaching staff, but Jackson Dart and Cam Scattaboo will be a part of that because of what they are already showing on a team the last several years. Like, I believe Dayball's only had 1 winning season there, and that was his first year or something.
So I'm not sure. You just say or something.
Yeah, but that's my point. Is there's a way
it's like an asterisk.
I don't know if we're not like guys aren't training media in the media. It's never good to go in front of media. It's always good to be authentic and share. But there's times when I've been asked questions and I feel a certain way about a subject, but I'm like, that would be damaging to my team and to this franchise. I can't go there.
There's also something that's a really good point. I totally agree with you. There's also something refreshing, and I don't think Ashton did it this way. I'm just talking generally speaking now, about guys that come into the NFL and really have never lost. Like, I remember one of my best buddies is Colt McCoy. And I was in Cleveland when Colt arrived there as a 3rd-round pick. And when Colt got to Cleveland, I remember sitting in my living room at the house I was at in Cleveland, just getting to know Colt. And we haven't even started OTAs yet. And Colt was like, look, man, he goes, because, Cleveland had not been a winning franchise. And he's like, I've never lost. Like, so like a lot of times when you get these high picks in the NFL, like everyone had a lot of success in high school. They had a ton of success in college. Colt's like the winningest quarterback in college football history. Kellen Moore might have taken, but at high level, Colt's the guy. Like Kellen was at Boise. Colt was playing in Big 12, playing top 10 football. Winningest quarterback in college football history. And his stance was like, I've never lost. I don't know. Like I got to figure out like how to, not that I expect to lose, but I've got to like adjust my expectations a little bit, right? So there is something refreshing about sometimes these young stars coming in being like, I don't even know how to handle this. Like this locker room, this sucks. Everyone's down. Like at Boise, Ashton Genty was fantastic. Like that team, all they did was generally win. They might have lost a game here or there in the postseason, but they were winners. So there is a learning curve for these guys, and I think organizations could help them by getting with them and saying like, okay, first time you've experienced this, right? So from a media standpoint, how are you going to handle it?
Yeah.
You've never lost before. Getting up there and saying we got a losing culture around here, probably not the right way to go, right? I mean, look, we all know it's the truth, but your messaging is important from your star players, and that can deflate a room, and I think that's what you're trying to say. Well, and so it's refreshing to me sometimes too when I see these guys because they never lost.
Well, I
never even went to a bowl game in college. So when I got there, I'm like, let me tell you how to lose. I know how to lose.
Yeah. Well, let me give you another perspective. I think guys in college, and I was one of them. Patrick Mahomes was one of them, where every game was just an extreme battle. Yeah. You know, at Arizona, we had some good years. We had some bright spots. We made a couple bowl games, but my last year we went like 4-8. It was just a beating. We lost. We didn't win. Like we were over 500 a couple years, and we were 4-8. And I learned how to continue, how to speak to the media with a loss, how to be in the locker room with a loss. And especially when the season's over, when you know you aren't going to make a bowl game and just keeping guys going. I learned that in college. So when I got in the NFL, and my first year was Andy Reid's last, like it was a brutal year. You were a part of it at the end of the season. I knew how to handle myself, and I learned that in college. I do think guys in college who all they do is win at Bama, at Texas when Colt was there, they have a very, very tough time in the NFL.
I agree.
Because what happens is you go to the NFL and you think it's going to be the same thing. And then it's not, because the NFL is very difficult.
This is a really good point.
And so in college, the players that like are always fighting to get over 500 mentally have a stronger makeup when they get in the NFL because they've learned how to fight through losses. They've learned how to fight through adversity. They've learned how to just keep going and pushing forward, how to speak to the media, how to speak to the guys, how to go to practice after a loss. When you have all this success, yes, you learn this pedigree. You have this pedigree. You have this standard. That standard will change in the NFL, and you will have to learn how to adapt. So I would say that when you lose in college and you learn how to play through it, you're actually better equipped to go in the NFL because you're not going to win 17 games in a row.
Let me add one thing to that. So the Angels general manager of the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim is Perry Minashkin. Perry has kids at our school, at our kids' school here in Costa Mesa area. And a good friend of mine, Adam Bartanian, shout out to Adam, avid listener, I think. You better be listening. I'll find out if you're not listening. Adam was recently with Perry, and Adam shared this with me. Adam was asking him about player personnel decisions, drafting, free agent type stuff, right? And Perry told him this, and this is, Adam quoted him on this. He said, look, he goes, generally the only guys I will sign, especially young guys, unless they've already proven themselves in the league. So young guys, draft, prospects, all that, are guys where I look into their past and I can see they've overcome some pretty tough things.
Yeah.
And that is like number one on his list. It's not like granted, can he throw? Can he hit? He's got to be. These guys are all skilled. If you're considering drafting him, they check those boxes. But he goes, I got to look back in their past and find something unique about what they've overcome, because I want to know. And granted, the Angels don't normally win, so maybe it's a function of like where they're at. I don't know. Maybe the Dodgers will look at it differently. I don't know. But he just wants to know that like in the ups and downs of professional sports, where dynasties, I know they happen, but like even Mahomes has to overcome a lot, even though they're a dynasty.
He knows how to.
And Mahomes had to overcome a lot in college, by the way. That was not smooth sailing for him.
He learned
in college,
how to.
Right? Is learning how to overcome adversity and obstacles.
Yeah.
And that is straight from the horse's mouth of a GM that told a buddy of mine, like, this is not just important to us. I make personnel decisions based on this. What has that kid been through throughout his life? Now, I came from a great family, and I've had generally good health. I've been very fortunate in my life. I still think I have grit. So like, I don't even classify as one of the guys he's talking about, but I still have a lot of respect for that concept of guys where you look for it. It's like, what do you bring to the table? What have you overcome to prove that when things don't go well, you're going to respond? And to your point, guys that all they did was win in college, sometimes it's hard for them. It's hard for them to do this.
Well, I mean, that's why Andy Reid drafted me. was he saw me play, and I didn't win every game in college. And he just said, you just kept standing in the pocket, delivering the ball, firing away. When Chip Kelly came in, I thought I was getting traded. Chip Kelly found me in the hallway, said, you're going to be here. Oregon beat me 3 times in college. And we always played good games versus Oregon, and I always played well, but they beat us. They were really, really good. They were top 5 in the nation, but I never backed down from them, and I kept getting up, play in, play out, getting hit, getting on the ground, firing away. And we stayed in the game, statistically really good. We just never could get over the hump and beat Oregon. The reason I stayed in Philly with Chip is I kept playing through the adversity.
Well, you went to a Pro Bowl for him, and then he traded you.
He did. He finally said, it's not enough. But even those adversities, I say.
It's like, Chip, what were you looking for? I just gave you a Pro Bowl season, 27 touchdowns,
but
2 interceptions.
It goes to how we started the show with the perseverance and joy within trials. I talk about it when we won the Super Bowl. I look back and I reflected and I journaled about it. If I would not have been traded away to St. Louis and endured what I did in St. Louis and lose the love of the game and then go to Kansas City and find the love of the game again and then go to Philadelphia, I do not know if I would have been equipped through those experiences and what was going on in life with like Tori's health and everything going on and my faith in the Lord to handle what happened in 2017 and 18 when Carson went down.
It's really good.
Those moments equipped me, those tough moments that I had to endure and take the next step and go through and trust the Lord in, equipped me to handle what came, which was way more than I could fleshly handle. But through my faith and through my experiences, I knew that all I had to do was take my next step and trust my teammates and be there. And that's why anyone listening and kids and everything, I know everyone wants all their kids to have all this great success. But when they get knocked down, you can be there to lift them up, but see if they can get themselves up. And when you feel like they can't, you're there to help them. You're here to, like you had the conversation with Collins. You talked to her, you shared the quote. That's a father when a daughter's trying to figure out what's going on and why, like someone's saying, I care too much. No, sweetheart, that's okay. Let me show you this. Like that's what a parent does. And that's why when everyone, like those tough times equip us to handle something greater down the road. And we have to realize that. And that's why sports are so awesome. Is you don't always have to have success. You learn a lot more in losses than you do in victories.
It's really good.
So just remember that.
Awesome. I love it. That's a good combo.
The show's going to go longer.
No, we're good. We're actually on pace here. We're on pace for a 5-hour show. I'm kidding. All right. So other news and notes. Bears on a 4-game winning streak. You heard me. 4-game winning streak. Big day from DeAndre Swift this past week. He had 19 carries for 124 yards. To me, it still feels like Caleb hasn't broken through. He's like a 61 to 62% completion guy. I think sometimes with Caleb, you got to take the good with the bad. I think finding out what Caleb's ceiling is in the NFL is still to be determined. But, as of now, and this proves they made the right decision from a coaching standpoint, at least so far, is that's okay. Because one of the best things Ben Johnson has done is get the run game going. And part of that is their offseason acquisitions on the offensive line. They've sort of rebuilt their offensive line and found some answers there. But they run the ball well. And guess what? Like, without even playing their best football, we're talking about a winning Bears team right now. Will this persist? I don't know. I mean, what do they got this week? They're at Baltimore, and they're an underdog because there's speculation Lamar might be back, but that remains to be seen. But the best thing Ben's done is get the running game going and get the pieces around him playing better football. Their defense is solid. It's okay. It's not like a top 10 defense that's getting after people and taking the ball away. But this is impressive what the Bears are doing. They're winning in sort of like a little bit of ugly fashion at times. They're finding ways to win games that the Bears historically lose. And because of it, they're on a 4-game win streak. And if Caleb starts playing better, like really good ball, he's not playing bad ball, but if he starts playing really good ball, I don't know. I'm starting to wonder what the Bears ceiling is. So this is encouraging if you're a Bears fan. Dude, you've got a real football coach.
They are leading the league in takeaways.
That is where they're the best. Correct. But like total yards and like total defense and all that, like they're an opportunistic team that's finding ways to win games.
I mean, you lead the league in takeaways, you're going to have success. Yeah. 16 takeaways, 11 interceptions, 5 fumble recoveries.
It's really good.
I mean, Chicago, I've played there. It's never really been an offensive franchise. They're trying to change that with Ben Johnson. They tried to change that with Matt Nagy. We didn't have the success with Matt that everyone was hoping. I mean, defense, they love when the defense is good. Now, if they can get that offense going, they're going to be dangerous. That's impressive.
That's why I'm really trying to figure out what their ceiling is. I mean, their division's loaded, right? You've got the Packers, you've got the Lions, and you've got Minnesota. It's
a good division.
It's really tough, and that's why I don't know what the ceiling is. Like if this team was in the AFC North or something, I'd feel differently.
Yeah.
But The division is a big challenge, but the arrow is pointing up for the Bears. I don't think there's any question about that. We got to give props to the Cowboys. The Cowboys are hanging in there, man. Dak just had his 4th straight game with 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. And check this one out. Dak has at least 3 touchdowns without an interception in 4 consecutive games. 3 touchdowns, no interceptions in 4 consecutive games. That's only been done by Russell Wilson in 2015, Breeze in 19, Aaron Rodgers in 14. So it's been like 11 years since Aaron's done it. Peyton in 2013 and 2014, Peyton Manning, and Tom Brady in 07. That was the year I think Tom had 50-something touchdown passes, right? With Tom Brady, with Randy Moss. I think that was his amazing year, I believe, offhand. They've had 40 points, the Cowboys, in 3 straight home games. Okay, so I would say this. Generally, I feel like we know what the Cowboys are. They're a good team that makes an early playoff exit, or they're a team like in the last 7-8 years, or they're a team that gets just destroyed by injuries at the quarterback position especially, and they fall apart, right? I can honestly say, much like the Bears, right now I don't know what the Cowboys really are. They're not bad, I know that, but I don't know how good they are. I don't know what their ceiling is, which is kind of cool. Like if you're the Cowboys and you had all this offseason, distraction, so to speak, because you let Micah Parsons walk because you didn't want to pay him $47 million a year, which I don't blame them. And everyone's like, yeah, they're a joke, right? They're 3-1, I believe they are, with their tie coming against the Packers. And I like the fact that like we don't really know where their ceiling is either is pretty cool because CeeDee Lamb is back. George Pickens has been fantastic. I still want to see those two on the field consistently work together. Because like when one's out, it was super helpful to have Pickens when CeeDee Lamb was out. But Pickens so far, seemingly attitude's been great, high level of production, and Dak has been playing as well as any quarterback in the league. Their defense is not very good. Can it improve? Maybe. Their running game has been good. Brian Schottenheimer deserves a lot of credit for what he's done for them offensively. He's gotten the run game. It's a great mix of what, and Dak has benefited from it. They have plenty of talent at the pass catching positions like we talked about. So we'll see what happens with the Cowboys. But in the NFC East, with the Giants being spotty, look, the arrow is not pointing up for Washington right now because Jaden is hurt again. They are a 10.5-point dog at Kansas City this week. It feels like it's going to be a rough year for Washington because of all the injuries and just like they haven't been able to find consistent. They might peak too late and just be kind of out of it by that point. So there could be an opportunity here for the Cowboys. And I just think we got to shout out there for hanging in there because they are squarely in the mix in that division.
It goes back to our true false segment from a week ago where we said, are the Cowboys legit and they're going to be really good, or is the defense going to be the fall of the Cowboys? And I mean, just looking throughout the games and even last game, they had a couple interceptions and a fumble recovery, which helped them, totally demolish the Commanders. But man, the defense is going to be the fall. If they could figure out their defensive scheme and play any type of better football, they would be a really dangerous team. But until that defense figures it out, I mean, I don't see them having great success, even how great their offense is doing.
Okay, so before we get to the Eagles, this was a funny topic that came out this week. So the Ravens are grounded. Mom and dad took the balls away. Mom and dad took the toys away. Mom and dad want to see more performance. So the Ravens started the season 1-5. Mm-hmm. They're coming off a bye. Ping pong, reportedly.
Oh, no.
Ping pong. So I want people to know.
Inside, they didn't do this. They did.
Listen,
oh, geez.
Inside NFL locker rooms, there's a lot of stuff there. This is awful. There's a lot of stuff there to pass the time, but I will say a lot of the stuff that's there is to build camaraderie and fun in the locker room and get guys hanging together. You want guys hanging out and talking to each other. It's a good thing. The Ravens coaching staff and the organization decides, hey, let's remove the ping pong tables, the basketball hoops, the cornhole boards, and the video games. Let's remove them. They took them all out of the locker room since the team is 1-5 and on a 4-game losing streak, as if we know why they're. I mean, we did give them a little criticism for not being better without Lamar and some of the players on defense, but we know why they're 1-5.
There's a lot of injuries going on, man.
As of now, Lamar on Monday's practice, Lamar was out. We're waiting for updates on him. The books don't know if Lamar's out or not because the line sits at 6.5 in their favor this week, which is kind of odd. I mean, they welcome Chicago to town, who's a winning team, and they're a 6.5-point favorite. So someone thinks that Lamar might play, but we have not gotten any confirmation on that. Roquan Smith is returning. Does it matter?
Helps a
he's a
bit.
good defensive player, obviously, but I don't know that it's going to make that big. But look, this 1-5 is the worst start in franchise history in 30 years in Baltimore. Remember, it was technically they were the Browns that moved to Baltimore. So since they got to Baltimore, it's the worst start. Cooper Rush has scored 13 points in 2 games. So really bad. But remember, when Lamar's in, this team's 74-32 since 2018. When he's out, they're 4-12. And when he's in, they score 28 points a game. When he's out, they score 15. So he's a clear difference
There's
maker.
a reason he's been, a 2-time MVP?
Yeah,
There's a reason.
I almost won it last year.
Yeah.
He's a clear difference maker. We know that. And that's why they're 1-5. But the coaching staff decides, mom and dad decide to take the toys away from the kids. And maybe, look, we're not in there. Maybe there's an issue with guys like focusing too much on that and not watching enough film on their own. That's probably the genesis of this. It's really hard, even like with our playing background, to not be like, this is super petty, because having those things in the locker room is a good thing. Like we always used to get at it playing ping pong with guys, and it's how you get to know guys better in the locker room. It builds camaraderie. It builds fun, competitive activity off the field. And they took those things out. I mean, I got to believe most guys probably chuckled, like, you're going to take away our ping pong tables. But John Harbaugh is trying something new. Is he the longest tenured head coach in the NFL? I believe he is.
He might
John
be.
Harbaugh. If he's not he's one of the. So this guy's been there a long time, and this is the most drastic measure he's taken, and they've never been 1-5 before, to try to get it right. Among, I'm sure, many other things he's trying. But this one's interesting though. The kids are grounded.
I mean, I think the topic of this one will be petty. Let's go.
We're putting that back in the petty box. I like that.
It is. Yeah. I mean, I've been a part of teams that try this, and it just never goes well. Yeah. I mean, you have injuries. Schematically, you just look all over the place. It's bad. I mean, I agree with you. Camaraderie in the law, and you're only doing it in between like practice and when you have a little bit of extra time.
There's like a 5-minute window usually.
And you'd play cornhole or quick ping pong, and then after the day is done, maybe guys stay around the facility and do some treatment and everything, and then you might play like a little bit.
It's really more of a training camp thing, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
You're in the building all
like
day. Like
video games and stuff, when I was playing, like you never really had time, but ping pong, you'd play. I remember in Philly, like early on, GJ Kinney and I and Matt Barkley, like we'd play like right before practice, like quick 5-minute.
One game. Right?
And it honestly warmed up our senses.
Yeah.
Like, and then cornhole, like I remember in Indianapolis, Jeff Saturday's first week on the job was actually a great week. He knew there was a lot of stress going on. He made it fun. He like made practice. Like he knew we had some injuries. So like not every period was full speed. There were some walkthrough periods. We still had the cornhole and whatever we had going on. I'm like, actually, this might work. Guys were happy. Morale was good. I don't know who Jeff talked to going in after we beat the Raiders on the road. But the next week, practice was 20, 30 minutes longer. Mm-hmm. All the stuff, cornhole, ping pong, whatever it was, gone.
Oh, so you've experienced this.
Oh, it was taken out.
Oh.
And all of a sudden, I'm like, well, last week, you actually created this great environment. You were saying all these things in the team meeting room. We felt really good going to Vegas, even though Frank was just fired and everyone was sad about that. Like, you created this environment, and we won and had a great game, though it was against the Raiders. And then you rip all this away and then make practice insanely intense to where we have more periods and more things. More is not always better. And then there's nothing for the guys to do in the locker room except sit there and do. Like, guys need an out. You're there 12 to 14 hours a day.
Petty.
You have to have a 30-minute window in there where there's ping pong. And once again, ping pong is great for your brain. It's great for your senses. It's great for your reactionary. Cornhole is great as well because it's strategic. You're having competition. All of those things breed. There's
relationships.
Now, video games, I don't know.
It's guy time. It's good.
It's good. I don't like it. I think it's petty. I think that we have a petty series. We could just get all our pettiness out this week. This is the NFL halfway through the year. When teams are struggle, pettiness comes up. I don't like it. I think there needs to be some fun in the locker room, but you have to work, and that's on the coaches. Like in the meetings, like what are the coaches taking away? The Diet Coke? Like the coaches need to have the Diet Coke gone, all these other things that they do gone. If they're going to take all this away from the players, let's go into the coaches' room and take away that yellow highlighter. Now you can only use the green highlighter. They wouldn't like that. So I don't get it.
Your mention of Jeff Saturday reminds me, it's 2025. The Colts are 6-1. They lead the league in offense at 33 points a game. One of the most efficient teams in the league. They're the only one-loss team in football. And we are like 3 years removed from the Colts basically midseason being like, hey, let's pull Jeff Saturday off the desk on ESPN and come coach for us. Is there a more drastic turnaround than what the Colts have accomplished because, again, no disrespect to Jeff Saturday. He's like a legend with the organization, but my goodness, like, man, have the Colts come a long way since that. Anyway.
And let me say something on the Colts, a positive, like, because we talk about Paynes. Chris Ballard's done a great job. I really like Chris. I think he's a great dude. I really, really like Chris. The people that work at that franchise within the buildings are awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed the trainers, the equipment guys. I was around Carly. She was awesome. They've always had really great people. DT. Now that they have Shane Steichen, they have Daniel Jones, JT, Jonathan Taylor's playing better. They have the pieces there. They have the fan base. They have the stadium, and now they can keep going forward. So I like what they're doing. They have the people there to do it. So I just wanted to give a little positive shout out after all this pettiness from the Ravens.
Let's go Eagles. Eagles. As we talked about on our show on Sunday, our mini pod, our bonus pod, Eagles won 28-22 at Minnesota. They played the number two pass defense in the league, and Jalen just diced them. 83%, 19 of 23, 326 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Perfect passer rating on the day. Efficiency was key, 304 yards to Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown combined. He completed 13 of 17 attempts to those guys. Devontae's long was 79, A.J.'s long was 45. 3 touchdowns between the two of them. We're going to rattle off some stats here. So Jalen on 10 plus yard throws versus the Vikings. He was 9 of 12 for 284 and 3 touchdowns. And by the way, they weren't all like beautiful play designs. It was just awesome execution. One of them was like the first touchdown to AJ was a broken play. AJ ran what I thought was like, what? That's the route? And Jalen just gives him a point, being like, hey man, I got extra time. Just take off up the sideline. And AJ runs the scramble drill and wheels around and goes up the sideline. Great throw from Jalen, touchdown. So I'm going to let you get into this. I can't sit here and tell you that play design was like remarkably different, but they went under center in play action, which got Devontae Smith open on his 79-yard touchdown. So Kevin Patullo deserves credit for that. Jalen Hurts has always been a great deep ball thrower, so that helps. But the last 22 games, Jalen has 52 total touchdowns and 6 turnovers. His last 545 pass attempts, 31 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. I mean, these are like jarring statistics. And the challenge for us, because we have said we don't feel like Jalen is a top tier passer, and the majority of fans will be like, Evan, the numbers you just read suggest that he is. Yeah, I understand that. But the challenge when you watch these games is to separate just stat lines from what you're watching, right? And they're not always exactly the same. Sometimes there is an explanation for things. But what I would say, and Nick, where I think you and I were having a really good discussion off camera on this, is that there has been frustration this year with, at times, not in Minnesota, obviously, but at times with Philly's offense. And you did a deeper dive and are kind of leaning towards, hey, you're still going to stand by what you said on Sunday about Jalen not necessarily being a consistent top-tier passer, but some of the frustration with Philly's offense might be a little bit misdirected towards Jalen. Because as we know, the run game is not what it was last year. So let me rattle off some Saquon stats. I'm going to let you do your thing. Of the 24 running backs this year in the NFL who have at least 75 carries so far this season, Saquon Barkley ranks dead last in yards per carry at 3.3. Last year, he averaged 5.8. It's only been 7 games, but so far he's at 3.3 versus 5.8 last year, yards per carry. Last year, he ran for 125 yards a game. This year, he's at 52.7. Last year, he ran for first downs on 23% of his runs. This year, he's running for first downs on 15% of his runs. Last year, he ran for 2,005 yards in 16 games. This year, he's on pace for 896 through 17 games. Significant drop-off. Now, he could easily regress to the mean, meaning like all of a sudden have a couple games where he bursts, right? Last year, he ran for 13 touchdowns in 16 games. Ran for. This year, he's on pace for 7 rushing touchdowns through 17 games. Versus Minnesota, he had 18 carries for 44 yards. He had 100 or more scrimmage yards last year in 13 of 16 games. This year, 0 100 or more scrimmage yards through 7 games. Now we're silly if we don't acknowledge he's a threat anytime he's on the field. If you're going to key on him, in theory, it should open things up for Jalen to be able to throw the ball down the field, which we saw against Minnesota. So maybe that's part of the reason. But I think it's possible that some of the frustration with Philly's offense, even though we stand by the conversation we had on Sunday, is maybe a hair misdirected, not even a hair, is just flat out misdirected towards Jalen. So what else are you seeing with the Eagles offense?
Yeah, I mean, I hear what the fans are saying. We've talked about it. Everyone just Jalen Hurts and the passing attack, and I was just sitting there. I'm like, man, like I feel like there's something more. And we've talked about the formations, the tight end sets, predictability. I'm like, let me dive into this a little bit deeper and compare last year to this year. And I was shocked with what I saw. So Jalen Hurts is actually on pace for his best passing year of his career. This year, he's around 1,500 yards, close to 70% completion, 11 touchdowns, 1 interception, 108.9 passer rating in 7 games. Last year, for the entire season, this is not including the playoffs, 68.7% completion, 2,900 yards, 18 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 103.7. Still an amazing year. So I'm like, wait, like, so he's actually passing the ball a lot better this year. But then I'm like, okay, the running game we've talked about has regressed quite a bit. You know, you just shared all Saquon stats and what's going on. Well, the reason what is going on. So I'm like, all right, Kellen Moore is the OC last year. Well, Kellen's big in shifts and motions. And the reason you do that, he was top 5.
Meaningful shifts and
shifts and motions, top 5
like
last year.
Like not doing it just to do it. Like,
there's always a purpose behind it, and there's a rhythm to a play call and a reason why. And why, okay, as someone who probably doesn't know football, and we have a listener that's trying to learn football, Tori and Colby, I know this will be interesting for y'all. Now we'll know if you listen to the show because we just called you out as well. Because I love that y'all ask us questions
maybe
as well.
Woody Johnson's listening too.
Yeah, maybe Woody's listening as well. The reason you do shifts and motions, and let me tell you this, as a quarterback, I personally did not like a lot of shifts and motions because it messes up the rhythm. Like you have to get up, you see the defense, all right, it's cover 3, then you shift over, then they go to cover 5.
Too many variables.
There's so many things, and you're constantly moving. But now looking at it, the reason you do that is you make the defense communicate and check. If you break the huddle, you have a simple formation. They have their check. They've worked all week in practice. They line up. Their ears are pinned back. They're ready to go. They're aggressive. They're very confident in all their calls because it's a stagnant formation, maybe with a little short motion, does not change much. Therefore, they're ready to go. When you do a shift in motion meaningfully, they have to communicate. So anytime that happens, when you're watching the game, watch the defense. You'll see the Mike linebacker and the safety start to communicate with one another. They have to change the structure of the defense to fill the gaps and who has this responsibility. Hey, now you're covering him. Hey, you're the flat defender now. There's communication, which then takes the ears. They're no longer pinned back. They're now thinking. They're not reacting. They're a little bit slower and they get out of place. The communication doesn't get to everyone effectively. Or you might have a young guy at linebacker who doesn't know exactly what to do once the shift happens, which opens up holes for the offense. Okay, that's the reason. So this year, they're bottom 10 in shifts, meaningful shifts in motion.
As far as how often they're doing
How often they're doing it. So they're doing less of that. It also manipulates the defense, the safeties, especially in the RPO world. It hides RPOs. It hides the zone reads. It hides all that. This year, there's a lot more 2 tight end sets, under center run game. Very predictable. Lane Johnson alluded to it a week or two ago where he's like, we're just so predictable. What he's talking about is these run formations are different than the pass formations with the tight end sets, under center. The coach's philosophy, and I've been a part of this, is, hey, this formation, downhill run, quarterback's under center, it's going to be good. Yeah, for some people. Maybe the Detroit Lions. That's what they do. You have Jalen Hurts. Yes. Is he a top-tier passer? Can he pass like Matthew Stafford? No, he cannot pass like Matthew Stafford. Is he a really good passer? Yes, he's a really good passer. He showed that last week. Is he a great quarterback? Yes, he's a great quarterback because of his entire skill set and leadership. But what you're taking away from him when you're not doing those things is the RPO run game, the zone read run game. His QB runs are down this year. I think they're half of what they were last year. The reason Saquon's a great player. But I've always felt the reason Saquon had such a great year last year was the scheme that helped a lot, and he takes advantage of that with his reverse hurdles and everything he can do. He's amazing. But you had Jalen Hurts at quarterback. Jalen Hurts puts stress on the defense with his ability to run the ball. When you take that away from your game plan and you're not threatening the defense with Jalen Hurts in the RPO world and these quick passes, getting the guy's hands where he can pull it and run or pull it and throw it on the run, and you have all these similar formations where you're not only doing play action drop back, you're running from, you're doing RPOs from, and you're motioning, you're putting so much stress on the defense. And what you're seeing this year with Kevin Patullo is lack of stress on the defense, more predictable, easier for the defense to align, which is hurting the run game because now their ears are pinned back, they're downhill, they're crushing there's just too many guys in the box because you're not adding stress on the perimeter. What I liked that they did last game was they had some play action with vertical passing concepts that opened it up downfield because they're trying to stop Saquon. They're saying Jalen Hurts is not going to beat us. Well, Jalen Hurts beat you with a perfect passer rating and a great game. They can build off this, but they got to get back to the RPO world. They need to do some fast motions. They need to do some shifts. They need to start putting stress back on the defense. And when they do that, it's going to open up the run game and get Saquon going. The reason their offense is struggling, and the fans have said this, it's Jalen Hurts passing. Hey, and we've seen the comments, Nick, can you be an OC? And all. Listen, they can fix this. They have the players that fix it. Jeff Stoutland's still there. They have coaches that are there. Nick Sirianni, Kevin Patullo. They just need to go back to what they did well, the RPO world, the motion world, make everything look that way so they're not predictable. Defenses are too good in the NFL. When they know what's coming, they will stop you most of the time. But when you can put them on their heels with the motions and shifts and the formations looking alike and the dynamics and the whatever, it makes it really difficult. So great game for Jalen. I feel like we've been harping too much on him, and I think the A.J. Brown drama caused a lot of that. Listen, the issue in Philly is not Jalen Hurts in the pass game, though we want him to be better. The coaches have to help him with the schematics of the offense. They got to figure out this run game. And it's hard for people to say that because Saquon was so good. No, it's not Saquon's fault. Okay. The coaches have to schematically fix this thing. And once they do, Philadelphia offensively will be rolling, and it's going to be exciting to see. So they're not even good offensively right now. Even though Jalen's having a career year passing, they're not as dangerous as they can be. Oh, my gosh, they can be so much better. I mean,
their best player, arguably, has not gotten going yet. Their best player is Saquon Barkley.
And I'm always – the best coaches I always said, and we talked about this the other day about baseball, the Dodgers. And, mid-year they weren't as good. Peak at the right time.
That's right.
The goal in the NFL and any sport is to peak at the right time. We're midway through the year. So this second half of the season, they're trending in the right direction. They just have to peak at the right time. If they peak at the right time, the Philadelphia Eagles are one of the most, if not the most dangerous team in the NFL. They are not that now. They aren't even in my top 3 power rankings. But if they can solve the run game and marry it with the pass and get back to what they did really well last year, they become the most dangerous team in the NFL.
That's really good. Really good. And I feel like I should just say hi to Kevin right now because Kevin Patullo better be listening. Maybe he's listening. I'm sure he's busy. But you can make time for 90 minutes for the season pod. Hopefully he's listening. So hi, Kevin. I'm going to add one more thing to that too, because
hi, Kevin.
You might say, well, or anyone might say, well, hey, you know what? Kellen Moore's not there anymore. This is different. It's like, but Nick Sirianni is.
Yes.
And you can find that continuity through him because he's an offensive guy. Here's an interesting stat in the NFL today. The top 6 teams, 7, really. Look who coaches them. So Shane Steichen, offensive guru, they're 6-1. Sean McVay, offensive guru, 5-2. Kyle Shanahan, offensive guru, 5-2. Sean Payton, offensive guru, 5-2.
But petty.
Petty guru, 5-2. Nick Sirianni, former offensive coordinator, offensive guy, 5-2. Dan Campbell, kind of aggressive offensive guy, former tight end, right? But he's
when I think of Dan Campbell, I think of defense. I don't even think of like a tight end.
I think of testosterone injections.
I love him. I'm hoping someday we interview Dan Campbell.
And then Andy Reid being number 7. So point being here is like in today's NFL,
it's offensive.
Look, like defense matters. Playing physical football matters. Like that's why it's what may hold the Cowboys back. But I just rattled off to you like the top teams and who coaches them and who's impacting philosophy. And Nick Sirianni's still there, even though Kellen Moore isn't. And I would expect Nick to have more of an influence on this thing as it goes forward. Before we get off the Eagles, though, just quick note on the defense. So Jalen Carter being back was huge. He's the reason there was that pick 6. He blasted Carson Wentz. Beat his guy at the point of attack in one-on-one. You never want to single up Jalen Carter. They did. They paid for it. Carson takes a huge hit, throws a pick 6. Cooper DeJean. This cat, look, he's not a corner. He's a nickel safety type, right? And he plays on an island in man-to-man against number 1 receivers from time to time, and then he comes downhill in the run game. At various times throughout the game, he matched up with all of the top pass catchers from Minnesota in one-on-one situations. They're not afraid to be like, hey, man, go ahead, guard Justin Jefferson. Not a big deal. Like Cooper DeJean is like a unicorn in so many ways, and he is such a valuable tool to what they do defensively. We can't not mention him. And lastly, Quinyon Mitchell and how he played in the game. So when he was lined up against Justin Jefferson, now I want to give Justin a little slack here because he's playing with a quarterback in Carson Wentz who was not even there during training camp. Okay, so it's not like the Vikings are dialed offensively right now. They've got some issues. So I know Justin is a special talent. But when Quinyon matched up against Justin Jefferson, 20 snaps he matched up with him on. Justin had 1 catch for 10 yards on 3 targets. That's taking care of business. Whatever issues Minnesota has going on, I know it sucks. Like, I'm sure Justin's frustrated. You're not seeing the best version of Justin Jefferson. He's a top 3 talent at that position. But Quinyon Mitchell took care of business. And it's impressive what they're doing defensively.
Justin was a little petty as well. Cooper DeJean said, I catch that every day of the week. And it's like, there's a lot of pettiness.
And
come on, guys.
Reminder, the Eagles get another crack just 2 weeks later. Another crack at the Giants, this time at Lincoln Financial Field. And guess what? The Eagles are wearing Kelly green.
Oh, hey.
It's right behind you, Nick.
Oh.
It's one of the prettiest jerseys in all of sports. And guess what? Jalen has never lost in Kelly green. So we're not going to make another bet today. The bet we already laid down, and we're going to stand by this, is Nick and I are going to put money on the Jets going winless on the season. And if the Jets win, your new sponsor of our show is the winless Jets, because we are going to win boatloads of money and finance our operations for time. I mean, we might finally be profitable if we can get hey, what was the turning point to your show? The Jets going winless was the turning point.
That was the key.
And by the way, for the Eagles, their schedule through 7 games this year is starting to look more and more impressive. So they've beaten the Cowboys, who are 500. They've beaten the Chiefs, who are 4-3. Or excuse me, they beat the Cowboys. They beat the Chiefs, who are 4-3. Rams at 5-2. Bucks 5-2. Broncos 5-2. Giants 2-5. Vikings 3-3. So the Giants on a short week is the only losing team they've played this year.
Yeah.
Their schedule, in hindsight, especially with all these teams playing well, has looked brutal so far this year. And to be 5-2,
they're in great shape.
and all that those room for growth that you just outlined, they're not in our top 3, but
there's
the
a lot
Eagles
of
might be looking at peaking.
Because if I bring them in the top 3, which I don't feel like they're top 3 right now, we don't want them to go the other direction. So another fun statistic, because you're naming off all these offensive coaches, and I'm a big believer when you have an offensive head coach, it's an offensive league. The NFL wants to see a lot of points because that's what fans like. Overseas, they want to see scoring.
It's an offensive-friendly game.
But I'm a big believer, if you're that type of team and your offensive head coach, like your defensive coordinator should be a previous head coach.
I agree.
Because then you're not even messing with that side of the ball. He is the head coach of the defense. You don't even have to worry about it. You just worry about your side of the ball and then controlling the team on the game day and then speaking to him in the team meeting room.
At least early in your tenure.
So, okay, Eagles.
Like, who did McVay have? Who was the defensive coordinator long time that was with him early with the Rams? Used to be the head coach of the Cowboys.
Oh, shoot. Oh, man.
Phillips? No.
Yeah, Wade.
Wade Phillips.
Wade Phillips.
So that was a great hire for McVay because McVay
early
was
on,
young. Let him focus on
young.
the offense, right? So anyways, keep going. I'm just
going like Eagles. You got Vic Fangio. He's with the Broncos head coach. You got Steve Spagnuolo. He's with the Rams. You got the Buccaneers or Todd Bowles.
The Chiefs, you mean.
Or Chiefs, sorry.
Yeah.
He was with the Rams as a head coach.
Yeah.
Vance Joseph is with the Broncos, and he was the head coach of the Broncos. That's funny. Dennis Allen, who Bears are in a good trajectory with Ben Johnson.
Yep.
Dennis Allen was the head coach for the Saints and the Raiders. Robert Saleh with the
Saleh. I've heard it pronounced a million different ways, but whatever.
49ers, he was the head coach for the Jets. And then Brian Flores is the Vikings.
Point.
So, like, if you're a head coach,
that's a winning recipe, right?
Yeah, a winning recipe is you find someone who's been a head coach that still wants to coach, still has a hunger, that was the other coordinator on that side of the ball, and they've done it at a high level. It'll give you a great chance.
And
that's interesting.
I don't know that the opposite is always as good, where you have a defensive head coach and then you have like an offensive coordinator that's like been a head coach, because oftentimes the philosophy of the defensive coach permeates through the building, which is like ball control, field position.
Yeah, it's brutal.
And it's tough in today's football.
It's better with an offensive head coach. That's just interesting. Now, you have to eventually climb the ladder and have an opportunity like what's happened with the Chargers and everything like that. But that is, if I was a younger head coach or I was a head coach, like find a vet to handle the other side of the ball.
All right, our timing's good. We're moving on to picks. We were
good last week.
Yeah, we were good. So
we were we were like 750 or something.
I was 10-5 on picks against the spread. What were you?
I would have been. You were 10-4.
10-5.
There's 15 games.
Maybe I was 10-4.
You were 10-4. I was 9-5.
I just know it was really good.
I feel like he's always off by one every week. Can we start fact checking him?
I often go to
because it came down to the Buccaneers Lions game. And you picked the Lions. And honestly, if I knew the Lions were wearing those jerseys,
yeah.
By the way, I do want to do.
I do.
Yes, it does make. We just talked about the Kelly green.
Yeah, but Kelly's different than the Lions wearing black.
I thought those were sick.
Who cares?
We got to do a poll those Detroit Lions jerseys. Do you like them? I loved them. I thought they were sick.
Yeah, they've worn those before, though.
I know, but you wear those on a primetime game, you're going to win.
Yeah.
If I'd have known that, I would have chose them. So it's a asterisk for me.
All
I
right.
didn't have enough information.
Let's get to picks. I feel like it's like if you've seen like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, all of a sudden the lights like come right down.
Can
on
we
us.
get that?
Here we go.
Hey, once the Jets go 0-17, we'll add that in here.
Well, when the Jets go in 17, we're going to be able to do a lot of things. We got a lot of capital to work with when that happens. We're going to be throwing around money like it's just like funny money. Picks. Here we go. Week 8 in the NFL. Coming off week 7, week 8. Here are your lines. Here are your picks. Get out your pens. Get out your pencils. You like to bet. Follow these. Got to take them all because we're going to have a winning record. We don't know which ones that. Well, we have our pick of the week, but got to take them all.
I'm writing down Evans this week, so I actually know.
Oh, I write yours down too. All right, Minnesota at the Chargers. Chargers -3. The unpredictable Chargers.
You're going first this week.
You want me to go first?
I already have my picks chosen. I just want you to go first.
Give me Chargers -3. They've been Herbert. I know he hasn't gotten great protection the whole year, but I don't think Herbert's been great. The turnovers at times have been head scratching. He hurt him a lot last week on a couple different occasions. He's got to be better. But this Minnesota team, I don't think has things figured out offensively. Give me the Chargers -3 at home.
I have the same thing. I don't need to expand any more than you did.
Wait, that game is in LA, right? So often these freaking London games throw me off. Where's that game?
It's LA.
Are we sure? Why is it so early? No, that's a Thursday game. What are we doing? That's
Thursday.
That's Thursday night football.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah, that's Thursday night football. Okay, on a short week, Minnesota going out to LA.
That makes it even more.
Give
it to the home field.
A lot going on, and my double decker's wearing off. My Miami at Atlanta. Atlanta -7. Miami's falling apart. Mike McDaniel's days are numbered. -7. That's a lot of points, but here's the thing. Atlanta's got a really good pass defense. They rush the passer well, and they do a good job keeping things in front of them. Bijan Robinson is actually in the odds for MVP. He's not going to win it, but he's at least mentioned. Michael Penix gives you a great game and then a very average game, and then a great game and then an average game.
Yeah.
He's due to play better. I think the wheels are coming off in Miami. I'm taking Atlanta -7. I normally wouldn't be comfortable laying this many points in Atlanta, but give me Atlanta -7.
So there is an asterisk on this one. So I have Atlanta -7. But if I get news that Mike McDaniel is getting rid of his joggers or capris and switching to pants or something else,
You're Miami.
I think Miami has a chance. Just like the Ravens are getting rid of all the stuff in the locker room and they think that's going to change. I think if Mike McDaniel changes his attire, gets rid of the joggers,
That might work.
Okay. But right now I have the Falcons -7.
All right, Chicago at Baltimore. Look, this one, we're going to pick it, but this line's going to change. So right now it's Baltimore -6.5. That tells me someone thinks Lamar's coming back. Without Lamar, there's no way this line is -6.5 in Baltimore's favor.
I just looked it up. No news.
All right, so for that reason, I'm going Chicago because Chicago wins ugly right now. They run the ball well. Baltimore's still not totally healthy on defense. Roquan Smith is back. I'm going to bet Lamar's not going to play. He didn't practice early. And if he does, if he's not practicing, not a good sign. He's practicing today. Yep. Okay, well, they think he's playing.
But he's also has a tweaked hamstring.
6.5. All right, I'm still going Chicago +6.5. I reserve the right to change this, but I'm going.
This is a truly non-joking capri pants asterisk with Lamar Jackson.
That's right. So you're taking Chicago as well right now?
I have Chicago as well.
Right.
You had mentioned Roquan. I love Roquan. He was my teammate, outstanding player. But when he was playing, they were still really bad.
All right, Cleveland at New England. New England -7. New England and Drake May, look, they're absolutely headed in the right direction. 7's a lot of points. Cleveland's defense is still very respectable. Dylan Gabriel has not been great. They don't have a whole lot offensively. And New England just spanked a really bad Tennessee team. I'm going to lay the points. I'm going to take New England -7. What do you got?
I got Browns +7.
Interesting. All right, Giants go to Philly. This one's good. This one's good. This one's good. Philly -7. Remember on Thursday night a couple weeks ago, Philly was favored by 7.5. So now Philly comes home after a great game against Minnesota. Philly's favored by 7 points in the Kelly Green at the Link. What do you got?
I mean, Kelly Green all the way. Eagles -7. Let's go. Let's show that Thursday night football was just a little fluke.
I think what happened to the Giants last week is a psyche killing thing. Brian Daboll was very pissed off, justifiably so, after the game. To allow 33 points in one quarter. Wow. And by the way, some decision making by Jackson Dart late contributed to that. That pick he threw, like, can't do it, right? But part of that is because Cam Scadaboo got blasted in pass protection and kind of threw him off. He ends up getting rid of it too quickly, throws a pick. That pick contributed to Denver's ability to come back and win the football game. I think Philly is trending in the right direction offensively. I think we'll see Saquon get going a little bit more in this game too. Man, we're favored. We're favored heavy. What do you got? Philly -7?
You do too?
Yeah, I do.
And also, I would just like to welcome Jackson Dart and Cam Scadaboo to the link.
Oh,
welcome to Philly.
Welcome to Philly.
Good luck.
Oh,
it's really
cut that up. Cut that up. You know what they should do?
Fans, get crazy. I want y'all loud and crazy in the link. Welcome them like a Philly welcome, like you always do.
So you know how like right before kickoffs in stadiums they'll put something on the jumbotron to like get everybody going. How cool would it be like right before the game if all of a sudden like everyone looks at the jumbotron and they show Nick in the season podcast, like on the season podcast in the studio being like, Cam Scadaboo, Jackson Dart, welcome to Philly. Good luck. Good luck. Like Taken, like Liam Neeson.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Good luck.
That's what we got to do. I like that. All right, San Francisco, Houston. Houston -1. Houston's favored after being, I thought they were way too generous with Houston on Monday night. They made that a 3-point line when they went to Seattle. That never made any sense to me. Houston's okay. They're playing better, but they're not a great team. San Francisco keeps proving everybody wrong. I'm holding off on this for my pick of the week. What do you got?
I'm picking 49ers +1.5.
Like it. Buffalo at Carolina. Buffalo -7.5. Buffalo's coming off a bye. Looked garbage against Atlanta. They've got some things to correct. Carolina can be good in spurts. Buffalo's laying 7.5 on the road.
You got it. You go first. You somehow switched it back over to me, and I'm switching it back to you.
Give me Carolina +7.5.
Oh wow!
Yep.
I love it
Too
when
many
we're
points.
I love it when we're different because I want to beat you every week.
What do you got?
I got Bills
Got Bills.
-7.5. High confidence on that one.
Jets at Cincy. I was about to say the who cares game, but Cincy's halfway interesting with Flacco in the mix. Cincy is a 6.5-point favorite against a Jets team that we don't even know who's going to play quarterback because Tyrod Taylor may not be available.
And you said his name right.
Tyrod. Yeah.
I love that. Like, say that again.
Tyrod.
Not Tyrod.
That's right.
Tyrod.
Yeah, it's got to respect. Tyrod's been playing for a long time.
Baker did a great job
deserves
a month
everyone
ago.
saying his name right.
Tyrod. Love it.
Cincy -6.5 with the Jets coming into town. I don't know who's playing quarterback. The Jets don't do anything well. I never thought I'd be laying 6.5 points with Cincy at this point in the season a couple weeks ago, but I'm taking Cincy -6.5. I think the Jets are garbage.
Man, I love how Joe's playing. I love that he can. People don't realize how hard it is to go join a team, learn an offense, and then go out there and be effective.
When you got those receivers, it makes it more fun. Though.
It does, but like it just shows Joe Flacco has had such a unique career, and the fact that he's still loving the game and doing what he's doing, and I love it. I'm going Bengals all the way.
Bengals.
You chose Bengals as well?
Yes, I did. Tampa at New Orleans. Tampa -4.5. Remember, Mike Evans came back. Mike Evans got hurt. I think he broke his collarbone, unfortunately.
And
for him.
A concussion.
I feel for Mike, but he's been such a consistent player for so long, and now he's struggling this year with injuries. Tampa's due to bounce back. I think Baker's going to be pissed off. Didn't look great in that game. I got to give the Lions credit with Jack Campbell defensively. They did some cool things. They were mugging up linebackers, then dropping them in coverage. They were accounting for Baker getting out of the pocket while also taking away his checkdowns. And they were forcing him to push it down the field. Just some good receivers, by the way. But the Lions had a good plan. I don't think New Orleans is going to be able to pull that off. I think Tampa wins this game by a touchdown or more. I'm going Tampa -4.5.
Same.
Tennessee at Indy. My goodness, Indy continues to roll. Tennessee struggling. They're on an interim head coach. The game is at Indy, and it's a 14-point line. Is that the largest spread of the year? 14 points. I mean, it was 11.5 last week with the Raiders. It might be the largest spread we've discussed this year.
That's a shocking spread.
Yeah, I mean, Tennessee at Indy.
So you're taking Tennessee?
Indy -14 points. You go first on this one.
Dude, you know me. I'm going Indy -14. I love the double-digit spreads. Let's roll.
There was 14.5.
There was 14.5. Okay.
Bills,
Yeah, so this is nothing.
Bills in New Orleans. Okay.
I think I lost that one.
Look, I'm not 14 points.
Why do I keep writing down my own picks?
To be
for
clear,
your picks?
I would never normally bet on this, but Indy -14 at home against
Dude, you
Tennessee.
typically go Tennessee, man.
I think Indy's going to run all over them. Like their style of play They're not like a 3-point shooting team where like one week they might show up and you're like, damn, they're just off today. Their style of play seems to breed consistency. It travels. It shows up week to week, right? Until they have injuries up front on the offensive line or like to Jonathan Taylor, if that ever happens, this shows up week to week. It is a consistent model of play. And for that reason, I think they'd run all over him, and winning by 17 or more doesn't seem crazy to me at all. And to be clear, if I went into this game having money on Tennessee plus 14, I'd be nervous from the time the ball's kicked off. Whereas with Indy, I feel a little more comfortable. Indy minus 14. Oh my God, I'm laying 14 points. What do you got?
I got Indy minus.
You already did it.
I already did it, man.
Dallas at Denver. Okay, this is interesting because Denver's been really unpredictable offensively. So Denver's only laying 3.5. Their defense is good though. Okay, and maybe their offense will find more success against a bad Dallas defense. But I want to see if Dak Prescott can keep his numbers going, like 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. You're such a weirdo, dude.
Hey, the fans like the POV, so I'm doing the POV.
3 touchdowns, no interceptions in like 4 straight games. It hasn't happened very often at Denver. I'm going to take the Cowboys plus 3.5 here. I don't know if they win the game, but I like Denver possibly being in a position where they have to kick a field goal late. I'm going Dallas plus 3.5. What do you got?
I got Broncos minus 3.5.
Cool. With those glasses?
Yeah,
loser. Green Bay at Pittsburgh. All right, so this is Packers going. This is on Sunday night football. Packers going to Pitt. Aaron Rodgers is waiting for Green Bay to come into his new house.
Mm-hmm.
And he's waiting to teach them a lesson. And I don't think it's going to happen. And I don't think it means that Aaron hasn't, it's not going to invalidate what we've seen so far from Aaron this year. But I think Green Bay has found, they've kind of winning in ugly ways. Jordan Love's been fine. He's done plenty. Made a lot of good plays. Micah Parsons is really coming on. They have a good defense. They're very physical. I don't love Pittsburgh's defense. So I think for Pittsburgh to win, Aaron's got to have 3 or 4 really big plays like we've seen in most of their wins this year. And I don't think it's going to happen against Green Bay. I'm taking Green Bay minus 3. So I think they win the game by 4 or more. As much as I love Aaron, I still think Pitt's in good shape. I think Green Bay gets this done on the road at Pitt on Sunday Night Football. Even though Aaron's going to be super motivated. But anyway.
Yeah, this was one that sorry, just putting the glasses back on. This was one that I had to do a lot of thinking about. And I agree with everything you said. But I'm going to take the different approach and say Aaron's going to go off like fireworks and they're going to win. And
I think he's going to go off. That would be cool for him.
I do think it would be a cool storyline.
Yep. And lastly, on Monday Night Football, Washington goes to Kansas City. Kansas City minus 10.5. We have another double-digit line.
Love it.
Jaden Daniels probably out. I haven't seen it official, but his hamstring, he went down in an awkward way. Thankfully, it's just his hamstring. I mean, when he went down, I thought he might have broken something, but just his hamstring. I think he's out. So you're looking at Marcus Mariota, who didn't look great when he came in last week. Kansas City is rolling right now at home in prime time, minus 10.5. What do you think?
This is a perfect time for the big picnic. This is the last game
we're rolling right into it.
We're rolling right into it because it's the last game. So let's go.
Big Balls Nick pick of the week. If it's double digit, it becomes Big Balls Nick.
Yeah.
Big Balls Nick pick of the week. What do you got?
Chiefs, baby. 10.5. That ain't nothing to them.
Let's go. I'm taking it too. I think the Chiefs continue to roll. They're getting playmakers back on offense. It's good. All right. So you did your Big Balls Nick pick of the week. My pick of the week. I'm going Niners at Houston. They're an underdog by 1.5. So take a money line, because you can get, plus money on it, probably plus 110 or something, nothing crazy. I think people keep doubting the Niners. Mac Jones continues to do just enough, take care of the football. Christian McCaffrey is still Christian McCaffrey. Jawan Jennings is back. George Kittle's back. I believe no Brandon Ayuk. I don't know when he's coming back. They're still missing Fred Warner and Nick Bosa, obviously, but they've just found ways to get it done. And I'm a big believer in Shanahan when it comes to X's and O's and accounting for deficiencies they might have with injuries. And it's also crazy how this has come full circle for Kyle. He wanted Mac Jones in that draft a few years ago. He liked him. He said it many times. They end up trading up and giving up first-round picks to get Trey Lance. And somehow they stumble back into Mac Jones a few years later. Mac's on a 2-year, $8.4 million deal, and Trey is I think he's still in the league, but for all intents and purposes, Trey's out of the league. And
he's the backup for the Chargers.
Whatever.
He had a great preseason.
Sure. Yeah.
He's re-energizing his career.
We're never going to see him.
So, I think he's going to do great with the Chargers.
So he's off in purgatory, in NFL purgatory somewhere. And Mac is flourishing and bringing about questions about who the franchise quarterback should be in San Francisco because of how well he's playing. Kyle loved Mac coming out, and he's got him back. They have something going. He hasn't been like a Pro Bowl type talent, but he's done enough, and they've got Christian McCaffrey and other weapons on offense. My pick of the week, San Francisco, not plus 1.5, money line to win that football game. And that, folks, are your picks. And I was 10-5 last week. You had a winning record too. Take them all. Nick is a total nerd with his glasses on. And I want to remind everybody, we are going to lay a bet on the books on the Jets to go winless this year at plus 2,500. And if the Jets win, you're going to see some pretty cool improvements to our studio because
it looks great though.
We're going to have
already.
a lot of extra. This show will be brought to you by the winless Jets.
You want the lights to come down though. You want like lights.
We'll be able to do anything.
Camera action.
We could probably like actually construct a whole new building if we want with all the money from the Jets going winless. If that's what we want to do, that's what the possibilities are endless. It's like the best sponsor of all time. All this money flowing in, we have no obligations to anybody.
Okay. I love it.
Because of the winless Jets, and thank you, Woody Johnson.
But now the Jets games are always interesting to us.
I hope Woody keeps popping off about his quarterback because it's only going to help us in the end. That is a show. Episode 11. Those were Week 7 reactions, Week 8 preview. Remember to follow us on Instagram at the SZN Pod, the SZN Pod. Check out our reels on our YouTube channel, and we'll keep throwing out good content out there for you, and we appreciate you listening. Have a great day.